Raider Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Renz here, host of the Raiders Report, and we got a fun show on tap for all of y'all out there. We are going to talk about Fernando Mendoza. I'm going to give you an updated look at the Raiders' top 30 visit tracker. We have to discuss Ian Thomas since the Raiders literally just went out and that they brought him back just a few hours ago. But we got a lot, and I mean a lot of different things that I want to be able to discuss with each and every one of y'all today. Plus, I think another segment that I've kind of thought about multiple times in my mind is some Raiders hot seat candidates, players that might be in a little bit of trouble, not like in the sense of their off the field issues, but more like, for a great example, right? Dante Thornton Jr. is going to be on this video. Why? The Raiders went out and signed Jalen Naylor. They've had a lot of top 30 visits at the receiver position. It's not a secret that the Raiders are looking at that wide receiver position. So, therefore, Dante Thornton Jr. is on the hot seat. And then the other thing that I want to discuss a little bit later today is Dexter Lawrence. I had so many fans reach out to me yesterday asking me my 2 cents on the Dexter Lawrence trade. I'm going to tell you why it makes sense for the Raiders to try to do it. I will tell you why I do not think that the Raiders will be the team that end up making that deal. But since we know that trades can happen at any moment, literally, the Houston Texans and the New England Patriots, they just had a late-round pick swap trade for Patriots linebacker Marte Mapu. I don't even know if I pronounced that name right. So what I wanted to do today is also give you some names that I thought could potentially be on the Raiders trade block. So the news that happened about, 2 hours ago, I put the video out on the channel, and I do apologize. I was asking for some help on social media because YouTube, for whatever reason, wasn't allowing like me and my team here. There were some guys that were not able to publish videos. For me, my monetization was turned off, which for you guys, it's essentially like, I just can't make money on the video. Obviously, I want to be able to make money on things that I'm doing, right? That's how I put a roof over my head, how I put food on a table. But the other big problem about no monetization is sometimes YouTube then limits that video and it doesn't push it out to the amount of people that it can get pushed out to. It also doesn't allow me to do super chats. And, for me, I like going live. I want to give you guys the opportunity to get your questions in. And, luckily, we're all good. I just saw LA Crash Dog. We're ready to rock and roll. We got all that going. But Ian Thomas, he did sign on a one-year deal. He was the tight end 3 last season for the Raiders. He played in 15 games. He started in 10. But when you have Brock Bowers and Michael Mayer, you need to make sure that you're tight end 3, especially in a Klint Kubiak offense, especially with a team that I just see us going a lot of 12 personnel. I see us doing a lot of even potentially 13 personnel. And, for the Raiders, in a perfect world, right, all of us, we want to be able to add a wide receiver. We want to be able to add somebody that can help this offense click. I do wonder if the idea of bringing back Ian Thomas is like, well, if we don't get that receiver, can we use Brock Bowers as that wide receiver 1 in certain stints? And, you kind of saw the Rams do a lot of 13 personnel with Puka Nacua lined up out by himself. Could the Raiders do that exact same 13 personnel look and then just have Brock Bowers being lined up over there? So, yes, the Raiders did sign Ian Thomas. He is back on this roster. I don't know the exact contract details yet around Thomas. Other news around Fernando Mendoza. Not only is Fernando in Las Vegas today for his top 30 visit, and not only is today the opening day in terms of the Raiders offseason program, Fernando also made it known today that he will not be in Pittsburgh for the 2026 NFL Draft. And I'll say this, man, if I was Fernando Mendoza, if I was the number 1 overall pick, don't get me wrong, I think it'd be cool walking up there on the podium. I think it'd be cool, being able to hold that jersey that says number 1, and it's all the lights, it's all the pictures, it's all that kind of stuff. But then, damn it, man, there's that other part of me where you're like, you're telling me I get to sit at home with my friends, my family, my closest people in my group, and I get to have that moment together with those people? I mean, the older and older I get, man, I feel like the more and more I kind of lean to exactly what Fernando Mendoza is going to be doing here. And if anybody's wondering, when was the last time the number 1 overall pick was not at the draft? It was Trevor Lawrence in 2021. So I actually tip my cap to Fernando for doing that because not a lot of people might have done it. But, at the end of the day, you got to do what you want to do. And when you're the number 1 overall pick, you get to call your freaking shots. LA Crash Dog, just making sure this works so you can get paid, my brother. What up, fam? Again, it's not just like I feel bad. Like, I don't want people to think like I wasn't going to go live just because I couldn't get paid. That's actually furthest from the truth. It's really like YouTube wasn't working properly. And, the way that I look at the Raiders Report channel, I say this all the time. Like, I don't keep any of the supers. We don't keep any of the Venmo. But the Raiders Report is a channel that honestly helps a lot of people out here at this company be able to, take care of themselves. But then also, we were just trying to get YouTube's attention because, like, we had a few guys that, like, they couldn't even publish videos. So it was like, here's one issue. It's leading to this issue. If you can clean up all of these issues, then we're going to be able to actually operate as a company. But we're good, man. We're rocking. We're rolling. YouTube got their shit together. It's always good to have a YouTube rep. And to the 320 people that are watching right now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, you can go check it out on my Twitter. I was yelling at YouTube because they weren't working. But we're good. We're rocking. We're rolling. And I have a really, really fun show. I mean this. A really, really fun show on tap for each and every one of y'all. Before you show that, all right, I was going to say, let's get into the Raiders' top 30 visits because there were some extra names that happened today. Zachariah Branch, Chris Bell, you can see them at the very bottom of your screen. We knew that the Raiders were interested in Branch from the days back at the NFL Combine. Also, Chris Bell has been a receiver that I have talked about in terms of my top wide receiver targets for the Silver and Black this season. But on the offensive side of the football, now these are names that I personally have been able to confirm. You got quarterback Mendoza, running back Kalen Black, and then 8 wide receivers. Clearly the Raiders are doing a lot of homework on this wide receiver position. And then from the defensive side of the football, they got Christian Miller. And if you could update Miller's name for me, take the I next to the E, just get rid of it. Christian Miller, defensive tackle from Georgia. Also Lee Hunter, he was in Las Vegas recently. But I got 7 guys on defense, 10 players in total on offense for the Raiders' top 30 visits. So let's play a little bit of a game here because I think that that's what the Raiders Report is all about. So let's just say you're in a room, okay? Let's say you're sitting down with John Spytek, you're sitting down with Klint Kubiak, and they go, we want to take either Zachariah Branch, Chris Bell, or Christian Miller. I do want to say this. I do think taking any of these players at 36 would be a little bit of a reach for me. Like, I'm not saying it's a massive reach by any stretch of the imagination, but if it was up to me, no, I would not take any 3 of these players that you see up on screen at 36. Not to say that if the Raiders did it, like I would say all these picks here are a solid C to B type of move. I would imagine there's better players available. But in the sake of this show, who would you draft if you had to select one? Would you go with Zachariah Branch? Would you go with Chris Bell? Or would you go with Christian Miller? So what's tough about this is we got a B and a B and an M, so don't type B and M. I think you're really going to have to type ZB, CB, or CM. Let me know down below who you would want, or just go with the last name. I think the last names are very easy. I see Miller from Ed Robbins. What's going on, Ed? I see we got Christian Miller again from a few other people. Pop says CM. Gotcha. Rebel said trade back. Yeah, I mean, If these 3 players were the guys that we're thinking about, I would imagine that there's still other good players available. But let's just say again here, like, we got to pick out of the 3. Because I think a lot of people that watch the show probably agree with me. I think I literally see Justin Buckman 100% agree with Mitch. I think Chris Bell, Zachariah Branch are 2 really good receivers. Do I think that either of those guys are a top 50 prospect? No, I do not. Christian Miller, same thing. I think he's a really good defensive tackle. He's my number 2 DT in this year's class. He might be number 3. I'd have to go back and check my exact rankings. But it's another guy where I'm like, I don't know if he is a top 50 prospect overall. But I'm seeing a lot of Millers, and I'm just going to say this. I would also lean Christian Miller. Let's go to O'Neal Seward. What up, O'Neal? What up, Mitch? Should be getting my Raiders Report gear tomorrow. Yes, I changed my profile picture. Oakland Coliseum versus KC. In 2011. Dude, that's freaking iconic, man. In 2011, I was just graduating high school, which is a pretty wild thing to say that, I mean, dude, that's 15 years ago I graduated high school. I know some of y'all are like, oh, that's only 15 years ago, this and that. That's pretty wild to me. I just said that out loud. 15 years ago, I graduated high school. Lopez is like, I graduated high school like 6 years ago, dude. Maybe even less. You graduated high school what year?
2020. I was a COVID baby.
2020, COVID. Oh, my Lord. See, that's insanity to me.
Like 6 years ago, I was in high school.
6 years ago for old Lopez here. O'Neal, I don't know if you know what you did, but O'Neal, you and LA Crash Dog, you in. And anybody that super chats $5 today, you in. I'll tell you what you're in for here in just a moment. But one of our special deals that we're actually going to be doing today on the Raiders Report, since Fernando Mendoza is in Las Vegas, and since today is the opening of the Raiders, off-season program, I wanted to do a special deal, and here's the deal. Anybody out there, if you go to chatsports.com/RR shop, and if you add either the black or the white Fernando t-shirt that looks like that, if you add that into your cart, and then if you also add the Weir Kubiak shirt to your cart, whether it's the shirt or whether it is the hoodie, I'm going to take $15 off your order. So when you go and you put those items in your cart, I can also see when anybody orders anything, I'll give you a shout out here on today's show because I've seen a few people already do it. But in my mind, we're freaking Kubiak today, and we got Mendoza in the building. If you're a Raiders Report watcher and you want to get anything that we are Kubiak, and if you want to get something Mendoza, we're going to give you $15 off. All you got to do is put both of those items in your cart, and then it'll just take off the $15 automatically. So just be on the lookout for that. If anybody out there wants to do it, this deal will only be valid until the end of today's live show. So you got about an hour, 50 minutes. Maybe my bosses will forget about it, and maybe you could try it out a little bit later on. So today's deals here on the Raiders Report are as follows. If you send in a $5 super chat, you're going to get a raffle ticket. If you send in a $20 super chat, you're going to spin the wheel for a chance to get more raffle tickets. If you want to get in our duck race today, it is a $20 Venmo at Mitchell Renz 365 if you want to try to win a little bit of money. If you bang on today's program, not only are you going to be banging and be in the running to be able to pick at 102 in our mock draft, I'm also going to give you 50 raffle tickets. Though I do want to be clear here, you cannot have more than one pick in my mock draft. So some of y'all are probably like, Mitch, what on God's earth are you talking about? Here's what I'm talking about. I'm going to do a Raiders Report mock draft. Throughout the years, I've done different mocks where, obviously, like I've done them. I've done some with other content creators. Unfortunately, I'm not going to do them anymore just because of past content creators doing certain things towards me and my team here at Chat Sports. So I wish I could. Not going to do it. I'm going to do it, though, a little bit different this year, and it's going to be with people that watch this show. So I'm just going to tell you all right now, if you don't already follow me on social media, if you're not already friends with me on Venmo, we're going to have to make that happen so that way I can get your pick. Now, I know what I'm showing you up on screen right now is probably a lot of shenanigans, and it's probably a lot of craziness overall, but essentially, I am going to make the number one pick. I don't think that anybody should have to be in a raffle for that. I think we already know the number one pick, that's going to be me. That's going to be Fernando Mendoza. And then you can see our round 236 pick. Whoever is the MVP of our Friday happy hour show, I'm going to allow you to make that pick. You're going to be able to say why you went with that pick, and then I'm going to feature you in a video. In our round 3, pick 67, whoever is our MVP in our April 18th Friday happy hour, you're going to make that pick. But today, round 4, pick 102. Whoever is the MVP of today's show, whoever bangs the most, you are going to be able to take that round 4, 102 pick in my mock draft. And just so all of y'all know, I will end up doing this mock on Monday, April 20th. So I'm going to probably reach out to all of y'all over the weekend, and this mock's going to happen on April 20th. So we're going to be doing different raffles over the next few live shows. I'm going to be giving out some prizes to the MVPs, but as you can see, 3 MVPs get the pick. We're going to be doing 3 raffles for pick 208, pick 219. It's whoever's going to be finishing last place of those duck races, and then in round 4, 134, it's going to go to a moderator. Essentially what I'll do is I'll put all of our mods on a wheel, and whoever it ends up landing on, it's going to go to that mod. You're going to be able to make the pick. So 420, everyone going to take a long time to pick, Big Raz. Yeah, don't worry. I'll make sure I have everybody's picks before that. I'm just saying the video itself will go out on Monday, April 20th. Shout out to Justin Buckman for getting himself a Fernando shirt. Buckman, if you wanted to add the Weir Kubiak hoodie or t-shirt to that, you would have been able to save $15. Again, I'm just telling you, just so all of y'all know. Ed Robbins, what up, man, in the building? I see Larry here in the building as well. Friendly reminder, if you're trying to get it in for the duck race, you can scan that QR code to enter. I'm looking right now. I just saw Greg Roth is in twice. What up, Greg? I got you. I see Jaime Portillo. I got you. And then Dan Fry, I got you in as well. $20 Venmo right now, shot to win $40 here on the Raiders Report. Let's go to Troy Douglas. What up, Troy? Troy, I want you to know I have your message pinned in my comments. Easter is like a really big weekend. I think I explained this for my wife's family. So like literally like this past weekend, I did nothing besides eat, make some food, played with Chuck out in the yard, ate a little bit more. But I promise you, dude, I will get to your message, and I think that we're going to throw a really freaking awesome Raiders event. Tom Brady is the Michael Jordan of the NFL. Mendoza will be Kobe Bryant. Carbon copy of Tom. Not saying he will be Tom, but he will be dang close. See, I feel like Tom Brady is the MJ of the NFL. Originally, I thought you were about to rip on Brady because Michael was a terrible owner. Like, he's the greatest basketball player of all time. Does anybody disagree with that? Like, I know you're a Laker guy, Lopez, and I'm glad I got somebody here that actually can talk basketball with me. I obviously respect Kobe's game. I think I respected the mentality of what I think, and some people might get mad at me what I'm about to say. I think I respected Mamba mentality more than Kobe Bryant, like, in terms of the way he played. I think he was an outstanding basketball player, but I think if you were to ask a lot of people here, people would say, like, oh, Kobe's top 5. Kobe's. And I think a lot of Lakers fans do think that he's top 5, and we'll make that argument. Though, I'm not a basketball guy. I'm not going to try to get into arguments here, but I go out there and I listen to a lot of guys that chat sports, and they're like, I don't think that he is top 5. There's some people that will make the argument he ain't even top 10, which, again, I don't follow basketball closely enough, but to me, I do think one of the reasons why fans should be excited about Fernando Mendoza is I do think he's almost a very so much carbon copy of Tom Brady from up here. I think he's even got a little bit of Kirk Cousins in him as well. But, like, I don't know. Where do you have Kobe ranked? You think so you said no doubt 5.
Kobe is in my top 5. I'll give you Jordan because it's going to be like, oh, you don't have
Is Kobe top
Jordan.
5 all time? Let me know down below. You keep going, sorry.
I wouldn't have put LeBron here if he didn't get like the scoring record and then had the one ring in LA. So you probably have to put LeBron over him. Probably Kareem. And then I think like that 4 to 5 range, just when you start talking about your, what's his name, Shaq's, your Tim Duncans. I'm not super high on Wilt Chamberlain, not super high on Larry Bird. Larry Bird's probably like number 8 for me. Okay. I don't think you can put Curry over him. I'm trying to think who else are like the big ones. I see a couple people saying Kobe over LeBron.
Like is Magic Johnson better than Kobe?
I don't think Magic is the greatest Laker.
Okay.
And I feel like, how are you going to be above Kobe if you couldn't even be better in your respective franchises? Hey, you both have 5 rings. He scored more points than you. I'm just saying.
Hey, I got you. Again, like to me, I think always having interesting like little sports debates here and there. But Troy Douglas, I just want to let you know, man. 1, I got your raffle ticket, and on top of that, we will be having some conversations. I want to see if it can happen sooner rather than later, Troy, but worst case scenario, maybe a little bit after the NFL draft. Bayou, what's going on, man? What are we getting in? Giggity. I respect the fact that you didn't even know what you were getting into, but you decided to get into it. So, Bayou, essentially, we're going to be doing a Raiders Report mock draft with people that watch the show. I wanted to think of as many ways as possible, like reward the MVPs, get people in for a raffle. I wanted a moderator in because I know the mods do so much stuff like behind the scenes, and I know that they're always working to get rid of bots, keeping the chat, together, and like they help us out a lot. And even if they're not on here banging and hooting and hollering, I mean this to every mod that's out there on our channel and to all chat sports channels. You guys really truly help us out a lot, and probably don't say thank you enough. But I hope that you know that we do really truly appreciate all of y'all, and there's a reason why you were awarded to be a mod, and it's just respect, right? Like there's certain people that don't get me wrong. shout out to Rusty, shout out to Kurt, shout out to Lando, shout out to Alex Azul. I'm sure y'all are good and we're close and all, but I don't know y'all, and it's like the Raiders Sport's my baby, and you might not let everybody babysit your kid, but somebody that you do know, I think that you would trust them, and I don't know. That's probably the best way that I can possibly define it. Ed Robbins, what's up, man? Food for thought. I'm listening. Kubiak does 51% of his plays under center. Mendoza only did 8 plays total under center last year. Your thoughts? First off, I thought that this was a idiotic, and I mean a unbelievably idiotic argument that Dan Orlovsky gave in terms of why the Raiders shouldn't draft Fernando Mendoza number 1 overall. His whole argument was that Mendoza, and it's going to take time for it to develop, and he's right, 100%. But you can't hit me with Mendoza's only done 8 plays total under center, and that's why the Raiders shouldn't draft him. That's why Ty Simpson's my number 1 quarterback. The reason why I've stopped talking about anything Dan Orlovsky related is because I don't value his opinion when it comes to Mendoza. I think Orlovsky is a smart guy, but he has really thrown all of his credibility out the window when he talks about Mendoza, because his argument with this, Ed, I don't know if you saw this, because this is going to get people to click right here, right? All the information you have on screen here, this is what's going to get people to click. This is what's going to get people's attention, and you're going to get people that don't do their homework that go, oh my God, the Raiders, they can't draft Fernando Mendoza. Maybe Ty Simpson is the number 1 quarterback. Ty Simpson had 38 more snaps than Fernando Mendoza under center. It's almost as if college is a lot different than the NFL. And you go out and you look at a lot of these college schools that go under center, they're like the Navy midshipmen running wishbone type of offenses that have that type of snap count. So am I concerned that Mendoza isn't playing under center as much as maybe Kubiak does want his quarterbacks to play under center? Yeah. But I also don't know, and I hate this term, that I don't like the term NFL ready, because quite frankly, no quarterback coming out of college is NFL ready. You're just hoping that some guys can learn a little bit quicker and then figure out the game as it goes on. But I saw that from Dan Orlovsky. To me, I'm really going to try not to mention anything Orlovsky related on this show, because I think he got you, Ed. And I'm not saying he got you in terms maybe the whole reason behind all this, but I had so many people send me that stat over the past 48 hours that I'm just it kind of ticks me off, because Dan's getting you, and I don't want to get got by Dan Orlovsky. Let's go to O'Neal Seward. What up, O'Neal? Kobe is 2 after Jordan, period. Just my opinion. I like when people, though, give their opinion. I like when people give a take, right? If it wasn't for the ability to give an opinion, dude, I don't think I would be here. I don't think people would watch this show. And if you don't have an opinion on a sports topic, then, I don't know, have a little bit of fun. Let your hair down. It's freaking sports after all. But 2 seems a little rich for my blood.
See, Kobe at 2 is my heart pick. My heart wants Kobe.
That's fair.
Number 1, number 2. He is my GOAT. Then I sit down and I start thinking about it. I'm like, okay, can I justify him at 2? I think there could be an argument for 2. I think you could argue that his rings mean more than LeBron's rings. He might have done a little bit more than Jordan, because Jordan wasn't winning until he had Pippen and Rodman. Kobe really only needed Shaq, and then even when Shaq left, he still got more rings. Shaq got 4. Kobe has 5. So, if you want to start talking about it like that, I could see the argument.
I mean, and I love listening to basketball people talk, because I think basketball, and maybe it's the same as the NFL. There's eras, right? Mm-hmm. There's the different eras of when you could actually play defense. Again, I love Steph Curry, but would Steph Curry be the player that he is now if he had to play back in the 80s and the 90s when you could actually, hand check and you could defend guys? Now it's a little bit different, right? Would MJ be as good in today's game as he was back in the 90s? I don't know, and I don't know if anybody's going to know, but it's funny, we're talking about Kobe here. I've been thinking about getting a basketball jersey just because of all the March Madness, and I was sitting there with my wife, Alex, and I'm going, I want to get a basketball jersey. I don't have a basketball jersey. And she's like, you should get a Kobe jersey. Because I was like, to me, I want something that, represents, again, I don't have a favorite NBA team, but I think the Mamba mentality and what Kobe stood for and represented, I can get on board with. I also love like Los Angeles stuff now that I cover the Raiders. So
You're a West Coast guy now?
I mean, like you said it the other day, you were like, I've never been to the West Coast, but I feel like a West Coast guy. I've been to the West Coast. I definitely don't think I'm West Coast guy, but I also love Los Angeles. I love Oakland. I love Vegas because of the Raiders. So I do root for the Lakers because I know a lot of y'all are Lakers fans. O'Neal, shout out to you. Sir Chai, what up, Sir Chai? Friendly reminder, I got 2 segments on tap for you guys today. We're going to talk about Dexter Lawrence. I'm going to show you some trades. I'm going to talk about some players that I think that the Raiders could trade away, and then also we're going to discuss some players that are on the hot seat here for the Silver and Black. Guys that I would say are in trouble of either losing their job or outright just getting cut going into the NFL draft. Look, if Mendoza is going to get the Tom Brady treatment, it means Raiders will have the refs on our side, so will the NFL finally do right by the Raiders? Oh, man.
Tough Rule 2.0 coming soon.
Could you imagine? In all honesty, could you imagine? Let's say it's Raiders up against New England. What are you looking at? Raiders up against New England, and it's like Mendoza pump fake, balls fumbled, clearly a fumble. They call it an incomplete pass, and then the Raiders go on to be this great legacy team for an extremely, extremely long time. Mendoza's not starting according to Sam, which he might be right. I mean, it could be Kirk Cousins, though I do truly think that it is, like, if somebody were to ask me, Mitch, who do you think is going to be the starting quarterback week 1? I'll go 51% chance Kirk Cousins, 49% Fernando Mendoza, and I only say that because not that I think Cousins is going to beat out Mendoza. I think the Raiders have a plan, and I think the Raiders' plan is to let Mendoza sit and let Kirk Cousins be the guy. And because they did the deal that they did, again, it's not a lot of money, but it tells me that they are planning for the future with Fernando Mendoza. Let's go to Rebel, Montana, Mount Raidermore versus the Silver and Black Hills mock draft. That would be interesting, Reb. I guess the only problem with it is there's more than 10 guys on Mount Raidermore, and I wouldn't want to, knock certain people off. Now, obviously, RIP to the great Brandon Jasper, but, like, I don't know. To me, I want to be able to reward people, and maybe reward's not the right word, but, I mean, like, there's people that are watching this show right now, right? We got 550 people that are watching this program right now today, and I want people to be able to, participate in our shows a little bit more. I don't want people to think, oh, it's just Mount Raidermore. Mount Raidermore has done a lot of great things. Silver and Black Hills have done a lot of great things. The mods, done a lot of great things. But, to me, if you're watching this show in the middle of April, you're a diehard Raiders fan. You're a diehard Raiders Report fan, and those are the people that I do truly, truly appreciate. Not to say that I don't think that this is a good idea, but I'll say this, Reb. If you wanna lead the charge and try to get 2 mocks between them, I'll feature both of them on a show. If I don't got to be the one that has to play point, if you want to be like, all right, you're going to get Mount Raidermore's mock and you'll get Silver and Black Hills mock, and then we'll compare them on this show, I think that sounds like a great, great debate on a Friday happy hour. Shout out to my guy, Rebel Montana, Brandon Booze. You're next up here. And also, once we get through all the super chats early on today's program, I will get into the very first segment on today's show. LA Crash Dog, I got you in the duck race, my guy. And then my dad, Richard Renz, has decided to get in the duck race as well.
Papa Renz wants to get in there.
If anybody sees MMMM Pops 365 down in the chat, that is my dad. And if I've told this story before, but MMMM, he put it in my yearbook. And I had so many of my friends, they were like, dude, why did your dad put I remember being like, what are you talking about? And they showed it to me, and I laughed. So ever since I was a little baby, my dad's always called me my main man, Mitch, 4M. So if anybody sees 4M's 365 Pops, that is actually my dad. Any chance Mendoza beats out Cousins this year? I feel like he'd have to be clearly better than Cousins for him to start day one. Yeah, I agree with you, Brandon. I mean, do I think Fernando Mendoza is better than Kirk Cousins right now? I do. I'll say it point blank, period. I do. I think Fernando Mendoza is a better quarterback than Kirk Cousins. Is Kirk Cousins a better fit with Kubiak right now than Fernando Mendoza? Yeah, actually, I'd probably agree with that, considering the fact that, You know, Cousins has played in this system for multiple years. The 3 probably best years of Cousins' career all came with Kubiak when they were back in Minnesota from 2019, you know, to 2021. But also, I really think that you're going to have a 2014 Raiders style of Matt Schaub, that's Cousins. You bring in Derek Carr, and if Mendoza can be the DC and is clearly the better quarterback out of the group, I don't know how you don't start him. And, you know, like, to me, you can have a plan, but if Mendoza is, like, clearly ready and clearly the better guy, then I think that they're going to go with him. But I also do think that if they see Cousins being serviceable and allowing Mendoza to learn,
Did you want to plug? Hold up, we got some technical difficulties going on. We're trying to figure this out. But keep talking about Mendoza beating out Kirk Cousins in year 1. I definitely think it'll be something to watch out for. I think at most Kirk Cousins plays 6 games for the Raiders, maybe 7. Did you just crap out? What the fuck? Do you want to take this one while I figure something out? Yeah. Give us 1 second.
You can hear it cutting in and out.
Yeah. Yeah, give us 1 second. Mitch's headset just crapped out. It was very weird.
Can you hear me now? Though I can hear myself. Can you guys hear me? Yeah, I mean, sorry, I don't know. Our freaking mics just crapped out. Do you think I could get that one? Put it over here. Well, the mic that I'm using. Yeah, I'm just going to take it. Sorry, y'all. Clearly, YouTube is, it's not our day today. It's not our day today. All right, we're good. We're good. Literally, like, I could actually hear it. Like, I heard the mic itself crap out. Yeah, because I went from being able to hear perfectly fine to not being able to hear at all, though this thing's broken. Doesn't stay up. Yeah, I would say just try to go out and get me a new mic because I'm going to need a new one. This thing's not working very well. Thank you. What up, Larry? What up, Pop? I see all of y'all again. Sorry for the technical difficulties. I'm I know you guys can hear me, but I don't know how else to explain it. I can hear myself in my ears right now, and this mic isn't working properly. So we're just gonna get a few things figured out on our end, but it's all good. It's all good. Again, like, I do think that there is a shot that the Raiders end up starting Fernando Mendoza, and I'll ask all of y'all while Lopez is away here for a little bit. Who would you guys start, Kirk Cousins or Mendoza? Who would you go with? Give me a FM for Fernando Mendoza, a KC for Kirk Cousins. Let me know down below. Where would you guys go? I see Rebel was going to go with Mendoza. Pop Toes sees Mendoza. And, like, to me, I can make the argument. Like, I would be able to make an entire show around why the Raiders should start Mendoza and then why the Raiders should start Kirk Cousins. So, what, that's the bad one? Okay. That's fine. All right. Okay. Well, I'm going to plug this guy in. All right, y'all, you're going to not hear me again for about a second or two. Yeah, I don't think that we do it now. Hang in. All right, y'all. Sorry about all this. We're working through a few things here, I guess. A few things, but I'm good now. Yeah, Azul, I don't think anybody should say Aiden O'Connell. And again, like, I like Aiden. I really, truly do. Like, I like Aiden O'Connell. But Aiden O'Connell is not in this conversation right now. I see Larry spamming AOC. Larry, I don't know if you actually believe that. I do see laugh my ass off, so I think that you're trolling. So, I hope so. Yep. What's the shitty video? Yeah, see, Darth, that's your first problem. That's your first problem. You're watching people that don't deserve to be watched. And I mean that in the nicest way possible. Oakland says Kirk Cousins. EMG says Kirk Cousins. Like, to me, the argument to be made for Kirk Cousins is, have you trusted what the Raiders have done this offseason? I would say yes to that based on what they've done from literally the moment that they fired a Pete Carroll to where we are right now. This organization, I know it's only been 3 months, and I know the Raiders have done a lot of losing the past 23 years, but I think it sucks to say it, but I think it's the way you got to look at it. You got to look at that last 23 years. You got to throw it out the window, and you got to say, what does Klint Kubiak and John Spytek look like in a short window? And I've loved what I've seen from John Spytek and Klint Kubiak, Tom Brady, in this short window. And if their plan is to have Mendoza sit and Kirk be the guy, yeah, I think, like, to me, I might not want it right away, right? I feel like I'm a kid on Christmas Eve that wants to open up his Christmas presents, and Fernando Mendoza is my Christmas present. I really want to open it up, but it's going to be a lot better on Christmas Day, and maybe Christmas Day is 2027, right? Like, I don't know. Like, maybe that's not the right analogy, but that is truly how I feel. Larry Beeville, what up, Larry? Mendoza definitely has that dog in him, like Kobe. Kobe not being in top 5 is literally insane. We're going to the playoffs very soon. I mean, I hope that we go to the playoffs, and I do think that the Raiders are a playoff caliber team in year one with Mendoza or Cousins. Now, that's not me saying that I'm projecting us to go to the playoffs. I'm saying the Raiders are going to be a team, in my mind, that's going to be right around 7, 8, 9 wins. Can you get a few lucky bounces? Can you win a few games that maybe you shouldn't win? Can you have a little bit of not an easy run, but, there's injuries that pop up. You look at the New England Patriots from last season. They got some stretches where they were pretty lucky, and they got some lucky bumps in that schedule. But, like, to me, I do think that Mendoza has that killer instinct, has that in the biggest moments. Like, one of my favorite videos is the Matt Barnes Kobe video where, like, Kobe, like, doesn't flinch. And I only bring that up because I'm flinching. Like, I'm telling you this right now. Like, I'm flinching if somebody's doing that to me. And sometimes when you just have these different types of dudes that don't flinch in these big type of situations, like, that's something that can't be measured by a 40 time, a 3-cone drill, a vertical leap. And, I just think that Mendoza has that winner factor, has that dog in him. And, it's like, to me, like, it's kind of like, you could say what you want about, like, Kobe or Steph Curry, right? Curry's definitely, like, how about this? I'll ask this question to all y'all out there. Final shot of the game. Would you rather it be Steph Curry or would you rather it be Kobe Bryant? I don't think anybody on planet Earth would say that Kobe Bryant is a better shooter than Steph Curry, but there is a part of me, like, at the end of the game on the line, if Kobe and Steph are on that same team, I'm not going to lie to you, I'm probably going to put the ball in Kobe's hands. And that's not a knock on Steph. Steph's the greatest shooter of all time, but I think, like, what makes the greats great is when it's, the chips are on the table and it's the biggest situation of that game, who are you going to put the ball in the hands of? And I'm seeing a lot of guys stay Steph, and that's fine. Robert Ory, let's go, early riser. Ory's got what, like 9 rings? He's got a bunch. 7? No, yeah, you're right. 9's way too many. He was on, I think, like 9 different teams that went to the finals, though. Maybe that's what it was. Robert Ory, unflippin' believable. Paul Diamond, what's going on, Paul? Have you heard anything about the Raiders trading with the Saints for Kamara? Also, everywhere I go in Vegas, everyone keeps saying they love the Raven shirt. Yeah, I mean, that makes me very, very happy, and I only say that because I talked to somebody from the Crosby family, and they told me that they loved the Raven shirts, and that, all I'll say is this. I know somebody from the Crosby family that got an F the Ravens shirt. And I think at the end of the day, like, they appreciate, us just having Max's back, us having, his family's back. And, when you've been a part of a team since 2019, and again, I'm not trying to act like I'm buddy-buddy with Max. I'm really, truly not. Max and I think have a appreciation for each other. Like, I think Max appreciates what I do for the Raiders. I think any Raiders player that has a problem with me probably doesn't love their on-field play, because any guy that's ever done well, I feel like I'm good with. But in terms of trading with the Saints for Alvin Kamara, I don't think that there's any actual rumors around this. Actually, Kamara last season said that he would rather retire than to get traded. I don't know if that still is the same, because I know New Orleans went out and signed Travis Etienne, however you want to call him. I feel like that's going to turn into the new Tyrod to Rod type of argument here. But would I say, like, would Alvin be an interesting fit on our offense? Hell yeah, he would. I know he's like 31 years old, but he's a hell of a pass-catching running back. He can run between the tackles. He's got ties with Klint Kubiak from back in their 2024 season. But based on, again, Kamara literally last season said that he would rather retire than play anywhere else. So, like, to me, I always have that mentality. I want guys that want to be Raiders. I want guys that want to be a part of this organization. Now, if Kamara said, like, well, hey, they went out, they got Etienne, and now I'm open for business, well, then, yeah, I actually would entertain that idea, because I think that we could help out New Orleans in their cap situation. And we have to take on a little bit of extra money. I don't know exactly what it would cost, but I would say 1% chance that Alvin Kamara ends up getting traded to the Las Vegas Raiders. Though we do have a new MVP and a front runner for the 102 pick in our Raiders Report mock draft. Lord Cameron Abbott. Bang! You know where it's fun to stay, Lopez? At the LCA. What up? I say Kirk will start this season, even if Mendoza beats out Kirk. Is the value of learning with a pros pro handles the offense. I do think Mendoza will start year one later in the season unless Kurt goes off. Hashtag Raiders, hashtag Real One for Life, hashtag Raider Nation for Life, save a Warrior. And maybe this is the route that the Raiders end up going. Like I do wonder if the Raiders look at their roster and they go, man, we're a lot better of a football team, and we're 4-4, right? Maybe we're 4-4 because Cousins is holding us back a little bit, and they go, it's time to go with Mendoza. But I think by them waiting a little bit, that tells me that then they maybe weren't 100% confident at the start of the year. And if you're not 100% confident at the start of the year, then, I think it's got to go bad for them to say, all right, we're going to then put in Mendoza over Kirk. But I do think there's a lot of value to be had, and I did a video earlier in the week where, Tom Brady talks about learning underneath Drew Bledsoe, learning from Brian Griese. There's a quote that I showed from Patrick Mahomes saying that, like, he just showed, I forget what it said, but he was like, I owe so much to Alex Smith and allowing me to learn from him a year. Like, you look at a guy like Malik Willis. Malik Willis looked really bad his first year in the NFL. Then he sat and he learned between Green Bay, and now he just signed a brand new deal, 3 for $67, going to be the starting quarterback in Miami. We'll see how that one ends up shaking out, ends up going down. But, like, we see it time and time again. Quarterbacks get thrown into the fire. They're not ready to go. Sam Darnold just won a freaking Super Bowl, and he was a quarterback that I think a lot of people would say was thrown into the fire early, had to learn, and then turned out to be a really damn good quarterback. But I think what's really great about the Klint Kubiak system is it teaches you how to be a quarterback up here. And I think what they're going to try to do is teach Mendoza how to be a quarterback up here. That way, when he goes out there in a game, he knows exactly what to do. Because what made Mendoza great at the college level, and Brady kind of talked about this. Again, I had a quote where Brady was like saying how Belichick helped him. But it was like Mendoza always did what was the right thing to do, right? It's like if you're going to play back, they're going to run it on you. If they're going to play box, put guys up in the box, they're not afraid to throw it. The 4th and 5 play, again, is one of my favorite plays that Mendoza does because he literally talks about it in a presser where they were like, we practice all week. If they give us too high safety look, that I can run it in. And that 4th and 5 play where Mendoza drops back and he just runs it in, he dives forward in the national championship game, that's a pass play. But I bring that play up because for him to be able to recognize exactly what he was supposed to do, that's what makes Mendoza great. And if you don't know if you're going to be able to get that right away, then I think you have to wait until he knows what he's got to do upstairs. Bill Taylor, what's going on, Bill? Right now, LCA, you are the MVP of today's show, and if it ends this way with you being the only banger, you will have pick 102 in round 4 of our mock draft. Bill, Kobe, top 5 people forget. He's tied for the most selections for first-team all-defense with Kevin Garnett. Complete player on both ends. Love Mendoza staying home for the draft. Be with your family on that day. And Bill, love the shirt. You're right. I do know that Kobe was a hell of a defensive player. Growing up in Philadelphia, I didn't grow up in Philadelphia. Kobe grew up in the Philly area. And knowing people that kind of were knew Kobe growing up, phenomenal athlete. And again, I think when you're talking about some of the best players coming out of high school, he's definitely one of those guys out there. I also like the idea of Mendoza staying home for the draft. To me, I don't know how many other guys are out there like this. It's not that I don't like going out hanging with the boys. It's not that I don't like going out to a nice dinner with my wife. But dude, there are some times after a hard work day, after just a hard work week, I love being able to go home, relax, and do what I want to do. And sometimes what I want to do is just sit back, chillax, and whether it's hanging out with Chuck, whether it's hanging out with my wife, just being with my people, I say it over and over and over again. If I'm with my people, I'm good. I don't care what we're doing. If I'm with my people, I'm happy. And to be able to celebrate that would be cool. I do think the other reason, again, I remember I heard a story that it had to do something with Mendoza's family, and I don't want to get into all the intangibles of it all, but I remember a story, something about it was difficult for his grandparents to travel to New York. So if you're Fernando, I'll say this right now, if you told me, Mitch, would you want your grandparents to be there with you for the day you're going to get taken number 1 overall? It's either yes, I got to stay home, or no, with all due respect, you could take me anywhere in planet Earth. If I could be there with my grandparents, I'm going to celebrate with my grandparents. I'm going to celebrate with my mom, my dad, closest people around me. So I respect for Fernando to do this. And I think if anybody's upset about him, I think the only people that should be upset about Fernando are people that are probably going to go to the draft in Pittsburgh. And if you already spent money on, let's say, hotel tickets, airfare, all that stuff because you wanted to be there when Fernando walked on the podium, I can understand you being upset. Honestly, I could understand that. But you shouldn't be upset at Fernando. I think you'd be upset at the situation. It's like buying tickets to a game and then your star player sits because he's resting. It sucks. It's a shitty situation. Actually, I think that you could be upset in the NBA players for that situation. All right, we got a new MVP. Arbor! Bang! From the top rope! Arbor! Oh, man. Arbor. I got you. I don't believe I ever won MVP, but nothing would be better than winning MVP on my birthday, celebrating with Raider Nation fam. 34 Bo Jackson year. All right, you know what? I'm going to do this. I didn't plan on doing it like this, but we're just going to do it like this. Arbor, I'm locking you in. Round 4, pick 102. If anybody else is an MVP on today's show, I'm just going to fill you in for another draft spot. I'll figure it all out. But Arbor's been here for a really, really long time on this channel. He was actually one of the people that was also doing a lot of locals for the best content, personal interactions, and best live show. Shout out to the great Tuna. So, Arbor, I'm going to lock you in, man. Round 4, pick 102. If that's cool with you, I got you. You're locked in, ready to rock and roll. Though I just got to be able to write this down, just so I don't forget. Also, I have your I have all your information on Venmo, so we'll be able to be in contact. So, Arbra, I got you. If anybody ends up beating him today for the bang race, for the bang competition, I'll figure out another spot to give you. We'll just tack it on. We'll figure it out as we go. But, dude, 34 years old, Bo Jackson year, a little bit of Shaq year. If you guys don't already, hit that subscribe button, please do. Can we get some HBDs down below, though? Because, again, first off, I'd love for you to get a picture, but there's not too many people that I can say truly, no matter what I've done throughout the years, I feel like has always been there. And, you know, like there's some people that know, like we made videos on Rumble. Some of you are like, what the hell is Rumble? Arbra knows. Locals, right? Like if some people know what Locals is. I mean, Arbra was a part of our Locals thing. Like, this show is not just on YouTube. It hasn't just been here. It's been a long process over the 8 years. And, you know, there's so many times where I wish that I could, you know, shake hands, give some hugs, and, like, say thank you to a lot of y'all that have helped us continuously grow here. But, Arbra, man, you know, you've been a big part of this show for a long, long time. I know you're a big Lakers guy as well. So, appreciate you, my dog. Happy birthday. I appreciate the fact that you want to be able to spend your birthday with us today. So shout out to you. And you know what? You want to sing happy birthday with me? Usually Chugs has got the pipes for happy birthday. I don't think that you have. Yeah, you're good. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Arbra. Happy birthday to you. Shout out to Arbra. 34 candles. Blow them out. Hopefully you wish for a Raiders Super Bowl. Let's go to Anthony Cruz. What up, Anthony Cruz? Arbra, real talk, though, man. Appreciate you, my dog. And you got pick 102 in our mock draft. Happy birthday to you. Anthony, who you call Pinhead. Yo, what up, Mitchell Renz? Been watching since last year around this time. Glad to be part of Raider Nation fan base. Also, when do you go on YouTube? When do I go on YouTube? I put out videos every day on YouTube. I go live every Tuesday, 4 p.m. Eastern time. I'm going to be live for Friday happy hour. Next week is going to be a really fun and exciting week. Not only will I be live on Tuesday and Friday, we are going to be doing some at Chat Sports. And I don't know if we're allowed to start talking about it yet, but... Oh, you did? We're going to be doing a essentially like an entire Chat Sports live mock draft where we're going to do like the first 3 rounds. So for the Raiders, 1, 36, and 67, we're going to get every single person here at Chat Sports. We're going to kind of like test out some of our draft graphics, and it's going to be a really fun and exciting show for that. In terms of when did I get started on YouTube, I actually think the very first day that I put out a YouTube video was February 3rd, 2018. I want to say that was the first day, and we've put out a video every single day since, so pretty cool. Also, the Raiders have officially signed Jordan Meredith. That one just came through. So I know like some people were wondering, are the Raiders going to sign Meredith? Yes, it is officially official. The Raiders have officially signed Jordan Meredith. I believe this number is somewhere around $3.6 million is what his salary cap is going to be. But you've seen the Raiders here over the past few days make like the Thomas Booker move officially official. Will Putnam was officially official. And now today, Jordan Meredith is now officially official. But this one technically happened, you know, a few weeks ago. Anthony Cruz, shout out to you. Sanchez, what up, man? Trial by fire. Have Mendoza start. If he struggles, he can have Kirkland step in for a bit, similar to Bryce Young and Andy Dalton. See, here's the problem, Sanchez. I actually hate this idea because in my mind, you don't want to ruin the confidence of Fernando. And you don't want to ruin the confidence in your young rookie quarterback putting him out there, and then you bench him. Because what that does is I don't think that that shows like the loyalty that you should show to your number 1 overall pick. Like, I think for the Raiders, they've done a lot of hiring and firing at the head coaching job, which I think is the right thing to do. But now you got a brand new organization. You got a brand new guy in Klint Kubiak. And I think the important part about running a Kubiak system is like you got to be able to trust your quarterback, and your quarterback has to be able to trust you. And you guys have to be able to work in harmony that you're doing what is best possible for that player, for that team every single time that you call hike there. I would be extremely disappointed if they went this route. Like, I would much rather Kirk Cousins starts the entire season than Mendoza start, I don't know, 1 game and you bench him, 2 games and you bench him. I think it would be a disaster. It would be a very, very bad, poor move by the Raiders to put Mendoza out there and to bench him. If you put him out there week 1, you're rolling with Mendoza for the rest of the season, in my personal opinion. But, see, trial by fire, I don't mind the idea of trial by fire, but you're going to let him out there, and you got to let him cook. Eric Garcia, in a scenario where your top players for defensive tackle, wide receiver, and safety is available at 36, who do you go with and why? So I guess my top DTs, Caden McDonald. Again, if we're saying like my top wide receiver, Carnell Tate's not going to be there. We'll say top receiver that I think is actually a possibility. Let's go with Denzel Boston. Top safety. I mean, I'll tell you this right now. As much as I love Caden McDonald and Denzel Boston, I would take Dylan Thieneman. Is it Thieneman or Thieneman? Thieneman? He was my number 1 safety in the videos that I did. I would take him. And I think what he's able to do at that safety position is unbelievable, and it's kind of crazy because if you would have told me that I'd be taking a safety over a defensive tackle or a wide receiver, I don't exactly know if that would be true. I do see some people tweeting, yes, it's true. Jordan Meredith, Charles Snowden, they are officially official. But again, we already knew that. We knew that for at least a month, probably is where we're going to be going. From Oregon, yes. He's a very, very talented player from Oregon. I see some people shouting out my dad, though. I don't feel like I even see my dad's. You did? Oh, okay, I see. Yeah, my dad said, happy birthday. Sorry you had to listen to him singing. How do you block that guy? Block. No. But I guess I would say, realistically, let's go with A.J. Halsey, Caden McDonald, Denzel Boston. I'm going to go Caden McDonald. Again, I love Denzel. But to me, can I get Caden McDonald at 36, and then can I get a Zachariah Branch at 67? I like that combo a lot. Sherlock Raiders, what's going on, man? Hello, nation. How we doing today? Honestly, dude, I'm doing fantastic today. I think today's a fun and exciting day for Raider Nation. You got Fernando Mendoza in the building for his top 30 visit. Also, your offseason programs are literally starting today. And then, you got a few official signings happening. You got Charles Snowden, Jordan Meredith. They're coming back. The Raiders re-signed Ian Thomas earlier today. I think the fact that the Raiders planned his top 30 visit with the day that they're starting the offseason program, it might not be. I kind of look at it as when Mendoza news came out that we're having the top 30 visit. Yeah, I expected it. Yeah, I think it's smart, but I don't always expect the Raiders to do the smartest thing, and I hate to say it out loud, but it's just the God-honest truth. And the fact that they were able to plan it, it felt like a real chess to checkers type of move, and honestly, dude, I'm very, very happy to be a Raider today. Cesar Lorenzo, what's going on, Cesar? Mitch, do you think ESPN told Orlovsky to say Simpson is better than Mendoza? Looking for a hot take, perhaps. I do think that, they probably get told to, hey, let's mix it up a little bit. But the biggest reason why Dan Orlovsky is saying the things that he's saying, and again, I want to be very clear. I don't have a problem with anybody saying that Ty Simpson is quarterback 1 over Mendoza. I think you're wrong. I think it's a bad opinion. But I don't get mad at, somebody having a different take than me. If you're going to have that opinion, though, in my mind, you got to be able to back it up. And that's been Dan's biggest problem. Again, I'm trying to think of a good example here off the rip, but if somebody said, hey, Mitch, you should go try out this ice cream flavor. And I said, all right, well, what ice cream flavor is it? And they're like, it's liver and onion. I'm going, yeah, I'm not going to probably respect your opinion on ice cream takes if you're telling me you need a liver and onions ice cream. I respect Dan Orlovsky, and I respect his football knowledge, but anything that comes out of Dan's mouth when it comes to Fernando and Ty Simpson, I push to the side because I go, you're not making any sense. How can you look at me and go, what big games has Fernando Mendoza played in? I'm like, what are we talking about? Oh, Mendoza's only taken 8 snaps. Kubiak runs 51% of his snaps, and you should take Ty Simpson. So you're telling me Ty Simpson's 38 snaps in his college career, those 38 snaps are why you should take a player number 1 overall? No, they're idiotic statements. But the biggest reason why, and the reason why people are saying that Dan's doing this is because Dan Orlovsky and Ty Simpson have the same agency, CAA. And do I think that CAA is telling him to say all of these things? No. But Dan also can't act like, him putting down Fernando and trying to boost up his own stock at Ty Simpson doesn't help out his own agency. It might not put any money in Dan's pocket, but it puts money in his agency's pocket and maybe helps, Dan get more money down the line. Dan says a lot of really smart things. He does. So when he says really dumb things, you go, what's the reason you're saying those dumb things? Sherlock Raiders, what's going on, man? Appreciate you, dog. Mitch, can we vote on quarterbacks in the AFC West? I got Patrick Mahomes, Kirk Cousins, Knicks. Yeah, I'm going to be honest. This is Sherlock. We ain't going to agree here. I hate to break it to you. Kirk Cousins got to be dead last. And that's just got to be the way that it is. Like, if I'm ranking these guys, I personally think it's Mahomes number 1. Then at number 2, I would put Justin Herbert. Number 3, I would put Bo Nix. Number 4, I would put Kirk Cousins. But I will say this, I think this conversation can be two different ways. I think it's, if you had to start a quarterback right now to win you a football game, that's a lot different than who do I think is the most talented quarterbacks. Because, some people got mad at me by saying this earlier in the offseason, but I said I would take Fernando Mendoza over Justin Herbert. Do I think that Fernando Mendoza is a more talented quarterback than Justin Herbert? No, I don't. And I don't think that many people should. I think Justin Herbert has the arm, the leg ability, the athletic profile. He is a top 5 athletically gifted quarterback, I think, in the NFL right now. But does anybody want Justin Herbert playing for them in the biggest moments of any game? No, right? And to me, that's what a quarterback needs to be. Justin Herbert is a more athletically gifted quarterback than Tom Brady, right? Or just than a Peyton Manning. But you wanted certain guys when the lights were the brightest. And if we were to look at which quarterback would I want to be my quarterback going into the year 2026, would I rather have Mahomes? I would take Fernando Mendoza over Bo Nix. I would take Fernando Mendoza over Justin Herbert. Do I think that Mendoza is better than either of those guys right now? No, I do not. But you're not projecting for the right now. You're projecting for the future. And to me, I will take Mendoza over those guys. But to say that Cousins is better than those other two options, I don't think that that's the case. I don't. I really, really don't. Sorry. Herbert hasn't done anything, Malachi, and you're not wrong. But I do think that when you watch Justin Herbert play, you can tell he is an extremely talented quarterback. But I think that that's also kind of the problem with sometimes how we look at QBs. If you were to just look at Justin Herbert in the nutshell, you're going, this guy's unbelievable, and he is unbelievable. But I also think that there is something to be said for certain players don't show up when the lights are the brightest, and that's Justin Herbert. That's been his whole thing his entire career. Herbert has no O-line, same with the Raiders. Herbert's offensive line was definitely really bad last season. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Darian Schofield, what's going on, Darian? Yo, Mitch, I can't remember a time I was this excited about a Raiders team with a coach and quarterback I trust. If we nail this draft like the Browns did last year, we really could be a 10-win team. I mean, I liked what the Browns did in the draft last season. I loved Carson Swessinger. I thought Mason Graham was a good pick for them as well on that interior. But I don't look at just how the Browns drafted. I want to look at how a team like the New England Patriots got it going right away. Honestly, the Commanders a few years ago where they just added so many reliable players. And what the Commanders did in 2024 was they spent big on a few spots, their biggest needs, and then they filled a lot of other voids. The Raiders went out and they signed big Tyler Linderbaum, big-time team need, and then they filled out a bunch of other starters and filled out a bunch of other needs. But, we need to crush the draft this year. We crush free agency, and I think the way that teams take that next step is you get a really good core of young guys on young rookie deals, Ashton Genty, Fernando Mendoza, Brock Bowers, JPJ, got a lot of young guys on those cheap, type of contracts, and then you get a few of those other dudes that, like the Nakobe Deans, like the Kwity Pays, like a Quay Walker, and if you can get the best version out of those three players and more, I'm very hopeful too, right? But you got to be hopeful. If you're not a hopeful person, again, I don't know how on God's green earth you're a Raiders fan if you're not a hopeful person. Nick Sanchez, let's get it going. Our first wheel spin of the afternoon. Love it, love it, love it. It's money. A lot of people saying Ty, better than Mendoza, not just Dan. A lot of people, I don't know about a lot of people, But again, like, I don't mind people saying it. You got to give me the argument. What's the argument to why Ty Simpson is better than Fernando Mendoza? Because I really haven't gotten a good argument on that. Klint and Spytek are building the foundation for a fantastic team for the next decade. Also, can we talk about just how good Kirk will be for AOC? Also, mark my words, after Kirk is gone, Mendoza and AOC will be running shit. See, it's not that I don't think that Kirk will be really helpful for Aiden O'Connell. I do think Kirk would be helpful for Aiden O'Connell. I think Aiden O'Connell will be helpful for Kirk. I think Aiden O'Connell will be helpful for Mendoza because they're all kind of cut from the same cloth. Like, they are all dudes that are type A, extreme preppers. They are, very, very much so going to learn the play, like the playbook. Like, they're all about the X's and O's and execution. Like, accuracy, like, that's what they're all about. But this is the final year for Aiden O'Connell. And, like, I know that Raider fans think very highly of AOC. I wouldn't be shocked at all if Aiden wanted to go elsewhere next season. Like, real talk. I mean, I'm telling you that right now. If I'm Aiden O'Connell and I have to deal with all the different changes that I've had to deal with over the past few years, and then in the biggest year for me, my contract year, not only are you going to draft a quarterback at number 1 overall, you're going to sign a backup in Kirk Cousins. I'm telling you this, like, if I'm AOC, I don't want to play here anymore. Like, if I'm Aiden O'Connell, I'm going, I've played in 20 games, I've started in 17, I've had to deal with different OCs, different head coaches, different. Like, my time to shine and, like, get on a team that actually gives me something is probably right about now. Like, I'll tell you, I don't think Aiden O'Connell returns next season. Not saying I would love for AOC. I mean, I was saying earlier this offseason, I would have extended him. I would have, and I'd probably say it right now. If it was up to me, I give Aiden O'Connell a small contract extension to keep him with Fernando as our backup quarterback for the next, let's go 3 years. Let's give him a 3-year extension, and let's give him about $4 to $5 million per year. That's a valuable role in today's National Football League. But I agree with you that we're building a foundation. And, it's just like building a home. If you don't build a home on a good foundation, the home's going to fold. And that's kind of been the Raiders' problem. They've tried to build a home too quickly on shitty foundation with different head coaches, big-name head coaches, big signings here and there. They're doing it the right way, and I think that we can see it this time. All right, Nick, you sent in a $20 super chat. We are going to be doing a raffle at the end of today's program. And at the end of today's program, whoever that raffle ends up landing on, you are going to have a pick in a Raiders mock draft that I am going to be doing. Also, we know that Arbora, he's already in that mock draft. Shout out to him for throwing in a big old bang earlier on today's program. Bayou or LCA, anybody out there that's trying to always compete. If LCA, if you bang 2 more times, I'll get you in as well. Mount Raider more. So whatever this lands on, that's how many tickets are going to my guy. Let's get it going. Let's get it going. Let's see. Nick, what are we going home with here? 20 raffle tickets for Mr. Nick. I got you. Nick Sanchez. 20 raffle tickets going to you. And if you're like, Mitch, I don't know what you're talking about with these raffle tickets, can you show them the Raiders Report mock for me real quick? So essentially what we're doing today is we're getting closer and closer to the draft. We're 16 days away. So if you could change that round 4 102 and just put Arbora's name there, that would be great. The other one that we're competing for today in this raffle, and if you send in a $5 super chat, you get 1 raffle ticket. You send in a $20 super chat, you're going to get to spin the wheel like Sanchez just did. And if it lands on you, you're going to be able to be in our round 5 pick 175 in our Raiders mock draft. So you can see the dates there for the MVPs, like it says 4/11. That means when we go live this Friday on April 11th, whoever's the MVP of that show, you're going to get to pick number 36 there. So other one that we're filling in today, round 5, pick 175 over there. The only 5th round pick that we have will go to somebody today. And if you're like, Mitch, how are you going to do it? I'm going to contact you, whether it's going to be on social media, whether it's going to be Venmo. I'm going to ask you to make your pick. I'll even send you some screenshots of who's available. We'll kind of go through it all together, and then I'll end up making a video on this. April 20th is the idea that I'm going with here. Let's go to Troy Douglas. What up, Troy? Family first, Mitch. Totally understand. Mendoza and Chris Brazel in the second is like Mel Gibson and Danny Glover. Lethal weapon. Dude, if there is one person that I was way too low on when I first started doing my draft evaluation, it's Chris Brazzell. And I kind of hated myself for it because I always say, don't judge the helmet, judge the player. And maybe it's just because I was burnt so bad last year by Dante Thornton Jr. No, I say me, I mean all of Raider Nation. I mean, Dante was just clearly not ready to be able to participate, I would say, for an NFL team at this current moment. But Brazzell, on the other hand, is a completely different receiver. He's so much more polished. Love his route running ability. 6'5", he's a big outside guy. He was featured in my top 10 wide receivers for the Raiders to target video. I do love me some Brazzell. 36 is still, again, a little bit of a reach for me, right? And I'm not saying it's a big reach by any stretch of the imagination, but it is still a little bit of a reach for me. I'd rather have KC Concepcion. I'd rather look at a Denzel Boston. And then we can kind of get a little bit more nitpicky as it goes on. But I like Brazzell a lot more than I thought I was going to like him. I will be very, very clear on that. So, again, he's much more polished of a receiver, can run a lot more routes than I originally gave him credit for. Robert Jansen, what's going on, Robert? If Kirk goes 24 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, he secures a big K somewhere else, and he mentored our franchise quarterback. I mean, if he has this type of year and he throws for 24 touchdowns and 8 interceptions, I think the Raiders win 9 games. I do. I think that's a 9-win season for the Silver and Black, somewhere right around there, because then that also tells me that we're going to be able to run the football effectively. 8 interceptions is not a lot for Kirko Chains, and that really, I think, is kind of my mentality. That's the season I'm hoping for here from Kirk. Yeah, and again, I don't think shooting for the moon here. I want a quarterback that takes care of the football, leans on the ground game, and we play some solid defense. That's got to be how we win football games with Kirk Cousins, Fernando Mendoza, any quarterback going forward. It can't just be, I like points and I like putting points up, but the Klint Kubiak offense is really predicated on you being able to run the football, you being able to do play action, you kind of playing not with the lead, but, you being in all these football games, playing close football. It also is a big part of the defense. Defense needs to step up. Let's go to the next one. We're rolling in here on the Raiders Report. And again, love all the questions that we're getting. I greatly, greatly appreciate them. Shout out to each and every one of y'all that have pulled up today. And, sorry for some of the, we'll call them YouTube issues early on today's show. Sorry for our technical difficulties with the microphone, but we're going to keep on battling through. And I got 2 shows for you guys on tap. What's up, Mitch? Do you think we'll pick up any of Mendoza's Indiana teammates on day 3? Fisher, Black, Coogan, Hemby, perhaps. Do I think that the Raiders draft another Indiana player? Yes. Yes, I do. I fully anticipate for it to happen. Who do I think it's going to be? And that's going to be the fun part. I would love Roman Hemby, Kalen Black. I think both of those late day 3 running backs, round 6, round 7, make a lot of sense for the Raiders. I think Aiden Fisher would be another interesting linebacker prospect that you could use to compete with Tommy Eichenberg, Cody Lindenberg, and be a little bit of a special teams demon. Pat Coogan does give you a lot of solid flexibility on that interior offensive line. Played center for Indiana. Might line him up a little bit more as a guard. I would actually say the player that I think is the least likely out of all these names is Pat Coogan. But that's only because, again, I'm going to be somebody that says I think the Raiders are a lot more confident in their offensive line than what the national media out there thinks. And, Spytek and Kubiak kind of also said that they were a lot more confident in the Raiders' offensive line during the NFL owners' meetings. Jake Side 89, love the pick. Love what Spytek's been doing. Keep on cooking up some of these good questions, man. I want to say that we got one more super chat, and we will get to that one here in just a moment. I see Born a Raider fan, and then I see Stabler for president. Those are the 2 that I just saw come in. Also, I see somebody asking me, Mitch, what's the duck race up to? The duck race is right now, as it stands, it was a $20 Venmo, and I just saw Jeremy Valve, you, sir, are in 20 to win, $110. Here on today's show, I got Bayou, I got Joseph, Richard Engel, my dad, L.A. Crash, Dan Fry, Jaime Portillo, and then Greg Roth are the names that I have in right now. Is it just not loading? I gotcha. All good. Yeah, because I was going to say, I see now 3 of them. Oh, boy. That's a big one. Oh, man, oh, man, oh, man. So, I don't know what's going on with our computer right now. It's loading. It's loading. Though I did see some people get some deals going. Reminder, y'all, if anybody out there wants to get a Kubiak and a Mendoza shirt, if you put both of those items in your cart at chatsports.com/RRshop, if you do that, it's going to give you $15 off. I did 15 for Mendoza. So, also, this guy right here, Mount Raidermore, load Cameron Abbott. Bang! It's fun to stay at the LCA. Your thoughts, trade back in the second for a second and a third, get a safety into. Who would you get? I mean, I'll say this right now. Maybe it's a very unpopular opinion. I don't mind the idea of the Raiders trading back from 36. Like I've said it before on this show. I really love the talent that's on and available on day 3. I think there's a lot of really, really good talent there. And if you told me that, hey, we could trade back in round 2 and maybe get another, like, late 2, maybe another 4th, or maybe we get a 2nd and a 3rd, I'm not against that idea at all. I think really what it comes down to is where are your starters? Where are your high-quality starters? If you think that you can find more quality starters by trading back, then my answer to that question is yes. If you're like, man, I don't know if we're going to be able to find more quality starters, then I'd probably say no to it. Who would I get? I mean, if you told me I trade back right now, what if I told you I could get a A.J. Halsey from LSU and also a Jeremy Bernard, right? Like, what if those are 2 players? If we trade back, it's like, do we get a Denzel Boston at 36, or could I get a Jeremy Bernard and A.J. Halsey a little bit later if we trade back? Like, in all honesty, I would take the Bernard and A.J. Halsey train over just getting Denzel Boston at 36. I think it's really, truly going to come down to who is available to you. But then also, I think the other part about it is, like, let's say, you like your pick at 36, and let's say you didn't go receiver and you're looking at Elijah Surratt. If you really wanted to, because you have 3 4th-round picks, 102, 117, and 134, you could probably package some of those 4th-rounders, move up into the 3rd, and then try to go out and get somebody. Like, I think that you could go 67, and let's say you got pick 102, right? You could package 67, 102. You could probably move up 10-ish spots if you wanted to go get somebody. And then if you wanted to ensure that you're going to go out and get somebody else kind of in that early 3rd round, you could probably package your 2 4th-round picks and move up a little bit. I don't know if you'd get into the 3rd. It'd be close. But, again, when you have 10 picks and you have 7 picks on day 3, 3 picks in the 4th round, I think the 3 picks in the 4th round gives you just so much flexibility, literally from top to bottom, that you can get creative if there's certain players there that are really high maybe on, one of your boards. Bayou Raider! Bang! If linebacker is still a need, see, I don't look at it as a need. Like, you can always find depth as a need, but if I look at our linebacker room right now, I'm looking at Nakobe Dean, I'm looking at Quay Walker, we're good there. I also think by going out and getting Shagun Alobi is low-key a really good depth move because he's a really athletic linebacker, can also give you a lot of value there on special teams, but then also Tommy Eichenberg and Cody Lindenberg. Tommy Eichenberg, final year of his contract in 2023, he was drafted in the 5th round, and then, you got Cody Lindenberg drafted in the 7th round. Like, I think that either of those linebackers is serviceable enough to be a backup. Now, if you drafted somebody, like, to me, if you drafted a linebacker, you're drafting them on day 3. You're not drafting somebody early on day 2 at the linebacker spot. I know you like Harold Perkins Jr., and if you were to tell me, like, hey, man, we draft one linebacker, who's it going to be? I would buy into the Harold Perkins Jr. idea because he's somebody that's going to go, in my opinion, the earliest he goes, like, for us, would be round 5, 175. Like, and that, to me, is the earliest. So I see him being a round 6, round 7 player for almost any NFL team out there, and that does have value. No, there's no doubt about it. Shout out to Bayou. Shout out to LCA for getting some extra raffle tickets for today's show. Born a Raider fan, Juwan Jennings, Stephon Diggs, Tyreek Hill, or Debo. Well, you could throw Tyreek Hill right off this list because of his domestic violence issues. The Raiders won't look at him. Same with Stephon Diggs. I don't see the Raiders being interested in a guy like Diggs. So really it comes down to Juwan Jennings or Debo Samuel. Based on the reports, Juwan Jennings wants a lot of money. Lot of money. If you told me I get Juwan and Debo at the same price tag, I'll take Juwan Jennings every day of the week, twice again on Sunday. If you're asking me I'd probably lean Debo simply because of the price. I think Debo could be half the price as Juwan Jennings, personally. So we'll see. If I had to pick, I think Debo, but only because of the price tag compared to Juwan. Stabler for president. Who is the nation's favorite female sideline reporter? I'm worried to even ask this question because I think people are going to get weird with it. So I'll just say this. My favorite woman sideline reporter, her name is Jordan Giorgio. She works for CBS, and she used to work here at Chat Sports back when I first started. Jay and I followed her path. She started out at Florida State. She's actually got a few interviews with Max Crosby this past year. But Jay was awesome. Her husband, Anthony, is an absolute rock star. I've got to meet him a few years ago. Still follow each other on social media. But if you don't know who Jordan Giorgio is yet, you guys will. I 100% believe in that. She's a really, really hard worker. She's killing it. So that's my favorite sideline reporter. James, what's going on, James? We got a little bit of a spin happening here. Yo, Mitch, love your show. Standing on 11 games won with an AFC sweep. Break out the dustpans. Oh, and Fernando is Rookie of the Year, period. He's got to start. If Fernando Mendoza starts, he's going to be the favorite to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. The AFC sweep, I'll tell you this right now. If we sweep the AFC West, or you're saying the AFC, I think you mean the AFC West sweep, 6-0. If we sweep the AFC West and we only win 11 games, there's something wrong. Like, again, you're talking about one of the best divisions in the NFL. You're talking about beating the Chargers twice, the Broncos twice, and the Chiefs twice. Like, if we only win 11 games and we sweep the AFC West, I'm really going to wonder what the hell happened, because that doesn't make any sense to me. If we sweep the AFC West, we better win 14-something games because we're one of the best teams in the NFL. I think that there's more of a chance to win 11 games than sweeping the AFC West. How about that? I don't even think it's close, quite frankly. But I'll tell you this. I hope I'm wrong, James. I hope 365 days from now, you show me this and you go, you were wrong, Mitch. And I'm going to be like, you know what, James, you're right. I hope that you're right, James. I really, really do. Let's see how many raffle tickets end up going down. Melanie Collins from Stabler. See, I don't know who that is. Again, I don't know who it is. I also don't, and I hate to say this, but it's not that I don't follow. I follow the Raiders. I really follow certain people in the industry, and there's a lot of people I don't know who they are. But I'll always follow Jay. She was a rock star. Again, still a good friend of mine. 10 tickets. I got you 10 tickets. Got it. 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 Dude, I'm so happy the Raiders are there today, man. Raiders in the building today. Super fun, super exciting. Arbora, thanks to my Raider Nation fam for all the B-Day love. Mitch added a picture with my wife from the Raiders-Denver game a few years ago for my guy LA Crash Dog. Save a Warrior, tell him Father Tom sent you. Much love, fam. Yeah, Arbora, I appreciate that you updated the photo. Again, to me, I say it. I also had a guy, come at me the other day, and it's more than reasonable. He was like, I don't want people to know what I look like. I'm like, all right, that's fair, right? Totally fair. I saw something on social media the other day. It was fans were mad. I don't know if you saw this, but I guess a guy went to a DaBaby, I don't know if it was a concert or a meetup, and basically was like, hey, DaBaby, I painted this picture for you. Here you go. And the picture that they gave him, DaBaby, was a picture of his 2 kids. And DaBaby was like, I don't want that photo. Basically, I don't want that. And he explained it if you want to show me love, if you want to do that, that's totally fine. But, to me, He literally was like, as a grown man, you're painting a picture of my kids. Like, I don't want you to do that. So, like, I know sometimes, like, when I say get a pick, and, there's obviously, like, all these reasons out there, and I was kind of on the baby side. I'm not going to lie to you. And, again, like, I don't really get into pop culture, but that's what this reminded me of. But, to me, like, with you, Arbra, like, I don't know, there's just not many people that I can think of that have been a part of the ride as long as you have, and, just so long. But that's an awesome, awesome family pick, dude. Is it all Crosby jerseys? Because there's a part of me, I'm like, is that a 93 jersey? But I'm like, I think that's just 98, 98. I think your wife's hair's in the way. But, dude, happy birthday to you, man. 34 years old. I love that you're spending it here. Shout out to the Raiders fans that are always a part of this program, that want to be a part of it. If we get a nice little wheel spin here for Arbra, since you are already in this mock draft, I'm still going to spin it, and I think the way that I'm going to do it is I'm just going to give away these tickets. Sound good? Whatever it lands on, I'm going to give these tickets away. Both Crosby jerseys, I got you. 20 tickets available, so here's how we're going to do this. If you want a shot to participate in my Raiders Report mock draft, I want you to spam HBD down below. Happy birthday to Arbra, 34 years old. I don't know what you're showing right now. No, you're good. I was like, what? What am I looking at right now on this screen? If you want to get a chance to get some tickets, spam HBD down below for Arbra. Shout out to you, man. I really, really do appreciate everything that you're doing for us, everything that you've done. Shout out to Gunny. If you guys don't know, go to saveawarrior.org/donate. Tell them that Father Tom sent you. All right, you know what? I'm going to give – how many of the mods are here today? How many of the mods are here today? Let's give Big Raz. I'm going to give Big Raz some. Big Raz, I gotcha. And then let's go with – let's go with Raider Bill. Raider Bill, I'm going to give you some. Raider Bill, gotcha. And then let's go with some more here. I see Lord Only Dan's. Love it. Lord Only Dan's, I gotcha. Celtic Raider in the building. What up, Celtic Raider? Gotcha. And I'll say we are all good then in terms of the raffle tickets. I gave most of them to Big Raz. I'm not going to lie to all y'all. Troy Douglas, what up, Troy? This is fun. I'm just here to Raider it up. Let's get back to championship football. Chiefs, Broncos, Chargers were the boxers backwards. Oh, God. Yikes. Man. Yeah, we're killing it today. I mean, we've all been there in terms of putting our boxers on backwards, but this reference is it's giving me an image in my head, and I don't know if I want to keep that image in my head. I'll just say it like that. All right, guys, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to get into our very first segment on today's show. I think this is a good time to get it going. This is a great segue to get into our first segment. Appreciate all y'all. Real talk, man. I really, really do. If you don't know, $20 Venmo to get in our duck race at Mitchell Renz 365. The last time that I checked, Jeremy Valve was the last person that got it in, and he's still the last person to get it in. So it's 20 to win, $110 here on the program. So the way that this show is going to run is I'm going to go through some Dexter Lawrence stuff. I'm going to give you some Raiders trade candidates on top of that. But what we got going on today is if you want a chance to be in a Raiders Report mock draft, $5 super chat, you get one raffle ticket. If you send in a 20, you're going to get a chance to win a bunch more tickets. If you want a chance to win some money, $20 Venmo, Mitchell Renz 365. If you bang, I'm going to give you 50 tickets. Again, there's going to be, like if you're, let's say Lord Cameron Abbott today wins the raffle, right? But LCA is MVP this Friday. LCA, you'll be able to pick which spot you want to go in. And then if you want to donate your raffle spot to somebody, you'll be able to donate your raffle spot to somebody. So just for clarification out there. And since today was Arbora's birthday and he was the MVP, I have already locked him into the pick 102. But if anybody is the MVP today and you go past the 2 bangs that Arbor has sent in, then I will get you on our Raiders Report mock draft. So just I'll figure it out. We'll plug and play as we go. We'll plug and play. Yep. All right, let me just get a sip of my water, and then we're going to rock. All right, so let me see. All right, so the first thing is we're going to talk about Dexter Lawrence. This is a topic that I didn't really feel like I was going to get into, but I just had so many people asking me, talking to me about it, so we'll discuss it. And then the final segment on today's show is going to be players that are on the hot seat. And, hot seat candidates are, in my mind, certain signings happen in free agency. The Raiders are clearly showing interest in certain positions leading up into the NFL draft. Which guys on our roster are going, crap, my job might be in a little bit of jeopardy going into this upcoming season. So we got 2 segments on tap. First one is going to be around Dexter Lawrence, and we're going to talk about some Raiders trade candidates. You ready to go? All right, let's get into the first segment here on the Raiders Report. Coming up today here on the Raiders Report, Dexter Lawrence trade. Is it actually possible for the Las Vegas Raiders, and should Raider Nation want it? I would say it's probably one of the top questions that I personally was asked this week. Also, since the New York Giants star defensive tackle requested a trade, I'm going to look at some players at the end of today's show that I could see Klint Kubiak and John Spytek potentially trading at some point this offseason. If you did not see the news from Adam Schefter, this happened yesterday, and I know that this is big-time NFL news. I did put out a little bit of a story on the Raiders Report already around this, but I want to be clear. When I first saw this, I instantly thought there's no way on planet Earth that the Raiders are going to be the team that ends up making this trade, which is why you didn't get a video from me. But the reason why I'm making one is because of just the amount of fans that reached out to me asking, should the Raiders go get Dexter Lawrence? But Lawrence and the Giants have been through 2 seasons attempting to negotiate a contract reflecting his value to the Giants over the last 3 years. But there has not been any progress per sources. From Jordan Renan, asked around the league, and the general consensus appears to be that if the Giants are willing to trade Dexter Lawrence, the return would be in the range of a late first-round pick to second-rounder. So knowing that, my question to all of you out there is this: should the Raiders trade for Dexter Lawrence? I want you to type trade, or I want you to type pass down below. I know it's early on in today's show, but I'm hitting you with a question right from the jump because this is why we're here after all. Here's my answer in terms of whether or not the Raiders should go out and trade for Dexter Lawrence. Obviously, I think that the Raiders should, because he's an outstanding player. If you're the Raiders and you think that you're an instant contender, if you think that you are going to compete for a Super Bowl this year, I'm looking at Klint Kubiak, I'm looking at John Spytek. Do you think that you're going to compete for a Super Bowl? If that answer is yes, then let's go make the trade for Dexter Lawrence. Here's why it's no, though. If you're on the camp that no, then you're okay with being patient. You're okay about building for the future. You know that we might not be a Super Bowl team now, but that doesn't mean that we can't be a Super Bowl team 2 to 3 years down the road. And just because a player is available doesn't mean that the Raiders should go out and get him, right? Like for me, I'm trying to save up to buy money for a house. If a nice car comes available, well, sometimes I got to say no to that car because I'm trying to buy my house in the future. And I just want to say this. I don't see the Raiders being the team that ends up trading for Dexter Lawrence. But for the sake of the Raiders report, let's talk about first the reason why I would want the Raiders to make this move. And then I'm going to give you reasons why it ain't going to happen. The first reason of why I know that fans are excited and why people are talking about this as much as they are, he's an outstanding player. I mean, you can't tell me that Dexter Lawrence is not one of the best defensive tackles in the National Football League. And that's even him coming off of a down season this past year with the New York Football Giants. But for an organization like, I believe building in the trenches. And I think there's a lot of other people out there that also, believe in building the trenches. But when it comes to Dexter Lawrence, like he does so many different things for you from top to bottom. He makes everybody else around you better. And, when I talk about the defensive line a lot of the times, we talk about nose tackle. And Dexter Lawrence is arguably the best nose tackle right now in the league. And if you want to get the most out of a Tyree Wilson, you want to get the most out of a player like a Max Crosby in the future, then I think you should look at somebody like Lawrence, who at 340 pounds at age 28, he's really going to be able to fill up the middle of that field. And he does it at an extremely high rate. He does it at a very good rate. And I know that when you talk about age, 28, 29 years old, that can worry some people a little bit. But I'll also say at the defensive tackle spot, it's been one position on the defensive side of the ball that has shown that you can play into your late 30s at defensive tackle. I think it's that grown man strength. Let's go to the next reason why I think the Raiders should try to make a move for him. Again, in a perfect world, if it's a cheap deal and Dexter Lawrence wants to come play for the Raiders, you at least pick up the phone, you make the call, because it does fill a massive, massive need at this nose tackle position. And I know the Raiders are going to run a 3-4. They're also going to run a bunch of different fronts based on a lot of things that I've heard around Kubiak, based on a lot of things that I've heard from Rob Leonard. To think that we're just going to run a 3-4 and only have 3 down defensive linemen is naive, probably even on my part, probably overhyped it a little bit too much. But the Raiders are going to go with a lot of 4 fronts. They're going to go with a lot of 3 fronts. Like, they are going to mix and match the same way, the Seattle Seahawks did last season. And when I look at this nose tackle spot, I like Adam Butler, I like John Ulalu, but there's still a lot of unknowns from top to bottom with a lot of these players. And I saw this stat from Warren Sharp, and I wanted to be able to show all of y'all because it was one of the coolest stats that I saw. And it was nose tackle pressures since the year 2022. Dexter Lawrence leads the NFL with 108. The next closest guy is Vita Vea. Vita Vea, 32. DJ Jones, DJ Reader, 28. Jordan Davis, 26. I know that the idea of trading for Dexter Lawrence, to me, in my opinion, is probably even less than a 1% chance. But I also know that fans are going to get excited about big-name players in certain situations because he's a big-name guy. There's not a lot of stuff going on in the NFL, and he's clearly a great fit with this team, and he's clearly a great fit, I would say, on just about any single NFL roster out there from top to bottom. The other reason why I can understand Raiders fans wanting to go out and get him, it is a Christian Wilkins replacement. And I'm not just saying that because they both played at Clemson. They both played on the same team, both drafted in, I believe, the same year, which was 2019. But, we have been looking for an interior presence, and I know the Raiders clearly wanted Wilkins to work. They gave him $27 million per year. For reference, they also just gave Tyler Linderbaum $27 million per year. Clearly, they valued Wilkins, and they wanted him to help out on this team. I don't know whatever the situation is going to be from a cap standpoint, but all I know from a football standpoint, Dexter Lawrence, he's an outstanding player, fills a big-time nose tackle need, and he would help us replace Christian Wilkins. For all those reasons, yes, I would love for the Raiders in a perfect world if we're playing Madden to go out and make the trade. But coming up here on the Raiders Report, I'm going to tell you why I just don't see the trade happening. And sometimes I kind of feel bad for saying this, but in all honesty, man, if I haven't proven to you in the 8 years of me doing this show, my team, if we haven't proven to you, if I'm not talking about it, it's because I don't think it's worth talking about. I love rumors, I love news, I love talking about certain things, but I talk about topics that I believe are important or that are important for Raiders fans out there. So the reason why I didn't talk about Dexter Lawrence when it first happened is because in my mind, I was like, this trade is never going to happen. But I want people to hit that subscribe button. I want people to look for free Raiders videos every single day. The fact that we're 37 subs away from 223,000, just continuously shows that we are growing so much of an amazing community here, and I want people to be about this community. I also want people, though, to be smarter Raiders fans. I'm not saying that I'm the reason why you're going to be smarter fan, but you're going to be a smarter fan from watching this show. You're going to be able to learn a lot more about this team. You're also going to learn a lot more about the fan base. You guys are going to be able to help out each other. I mean, it happens every single day when I go live, when I drop a video. I look at the comments all the time. But the reason why I want y'all to watch a Dexter Lawrence show like we're talking about today is because you should go, well, Mitch didn't talk about it. That means it's probably not all that important. And I hate to say it, but it is the truth of how I feel about it. So here's why the Raiders shouldn't go out and why they shouldn't trade for Dexter Lawrence. Let's talk about the first reason. Rebuild. We are a rebuild team. You don't go out and sign a bridge quarterback in Kirk Cousins, draft the number one overall guy in Fernando Mendoza. I know we just had a really bad season, and I know we've done a lot of great things in free agency, and I'm excited too. But let's stick to the plan. Let's stick to the rebuilding plan of let's try to get to 8-9 wins this year, 10-11, and then when we're in the Super Bowl in Las Vegas, like maybe that's the year where we finally make that big leap forward. I'm not saying that we have to wait for that year, but I think we have to know where we're at. And you have to have that understanding of, yeah, sure, I want to be able to buy $1 million home for me and my wife, but I can really only afford a $400,000 dollar home. That's even here in Dallas, Texas. Like, I don't even think I can afford that. I'll be completely transparent with you. But, like, you guys catch my drift. Just because you want something doesn't mean that you can go out and get it. There's a lot of good defensive tackles in the draft, and the Raiders have shown value in those DTs. Do I think that Caden McDonald's as good as Dexter Lawrence right now? No. But do I think that Caden McDonald could be a really good defensive tackle for the next 3 years and maybe turn into a player, I don't know, down the road like a Dexter Lawrence? Potentially. And I think that Raider fans should also buy into the idea that Rob Leonard, our new DC, is a great, great guy for helping out players on that defensive line. So if you believe in Rob Leonard, if you believe in our staff, I think you should want to draft a defensive tackle instead of going out and trading for a guy that you're going to have to pay a lot of money to, which brings me to my next point here, cap space. And yeah, we don't have a lot of cap space now. I know at the time that I'm recording this video, the Charles Snowden, Jordan Meredith deals have become officially official. They're going to be $3.6 million on the books, which, again, over the cap and Spotrac already had. I know the Raiders signed Ian Thomas today to a one-year deal. That's going to be a very cheap one-year vet minimum. But not only are you, kind of impacting the Raiders for this season, you're impacting the Raiders' cap space, obviously, down the line. And unless you think that you're in a Super Bowl win now mode, I don't know if it makes a lot of sense to pay that type of money to Dexter Lawrence because he's going to want a hefty price tag after you trade for him. And then the biggest reason, it's the trade cost. Like, I know a lot of fans look at what we have in terms of draft compensation and go, why can't the Raiders make the trade? I'm going to show you what everybody here at Chat Sports offered or was willing to offer from their team for Dexter Lawrence, and then you're going to go, yeah, I don't see why on God's green earth the New York Giants would ever even consider a trade from the Raiders. So first off, I talked to Marshall Green, and I was like, Marsh, like, what do you think, like, the exact details would be around a Dexter Lawrence trade? And he said, well, if Quinnen Williams went for a first, a second, and a player like Mozzie Smith, that's what I would want from, any team that makes the trade. So if you're the Raiders, like, to me, in my mind, this is like a, let's say, I don't know, Jonnu Lalu, second-round pick this year, 36, and then a 2027 first. Does anybody here for the Raiders want to give that up? No, of course not. So then I asked Chugs, what would the Houston Texans be willing to offer for Dexter Lawrence? A first-round pick at 28, third-round pick 69, and then a tight end like Cade Stover for Dexter Lawrence. The Minnesota Vikings, I talked to our guy Patrick Seatman here at Chat Sports. Pick 18, pick 82, Dexter Lawrence. You're going to see a common theme here. The problem is we have the number one overall pick. You're not going to trade the number one overall pick. So if all these other teams are willing to give up a first, and I don't think any Raider fan wants to give up a first for Dexter Lawrence, then it's really going to be hard to get into a competition for a guy when you don't want to spend when everybody else is willing to spend. Talk to our Bengals guy here at Chat Sports, and they said Dexter Lawrence for a second-round pick 41, a first-round pick next season, and then their first-round pick from just a season ago in Shamar Stewart. I mean, would you give up Tyree Wilson, your first-round pick next year, and pick 36? I wouldn't. I'll tell you that right now. I wouldn't do it. Then, what about the Chargers? Our Chargers guy. First round pick 22, 86 in the third. Wide receiver Quentin Johnston. We don't have the players. We don't have the picks to be able to make a Dexter Lawrence trade work. Let's go to the Kansas City Chiefs. They said, all right, we'll give up pick 30 and we'll give up pick 74 for Dexter Lawrence. And then here is my God honest, best offer that I would be willing to give the New York Giants. A second-round pick, number 36 overall, and then a fourth-round pick at 102. I think if you were to ask a lot of Raiders fans, would you do this? I bet you there's fans out there that go, no, that's too much. That's too much. I don't want to give up all that. And if your mindset was this is too much, there is no chance in hell you're going to get Dexter Lawrence on the Las Vegas Raiders. I'll tell you this right now. If the Raiders told me that this is what it would cost to go out and get Dexter Lawrence, I would do it. I would. I'd give up pick 36 and pick 102 in a heartbeat for Dexter Lawrence, and I'd go give him the money. But I don't think that that's the price tag. I'm not saying no to that trade. I'm saying no to the idea of we have to be able to compete with those other offers, and I don't think that we have the ability to compete with those other offers because I think first-round pick next year is very valuable, and our first-round pick this year is more valuable than just about anything. For those reasons, the Raiders will not trade for Dexter Lawrence because Dexter Lawrence doesn't want to come to a team, and the Giants don't want to make a deal with the Raiders unless they had the proper details to be able to get it done. So coming up here next, I wanted to just sit here and talk about some potential Raiders trade candidates because this is the part of the offseason where trade rumors happen, right? Dexter Lawrence trade rumors happen, and then I get people asking me, well, what could be involved in a trade, this and that. So I don't want to just talk about Dexter Lawrence today. I do also want to just be able to provide some context of, if Dexter Lawrence can request a trade, who are some players that maybe the Raiders could trade away before the NFL draft or even after? I will get into that in just a moment, but I am doing a special deal while I am live right now, and who knows, maybe my bosses will forget about it. You can maybe check it out tomorrow when this video ends up dropping. But if anybody out there wants to save $15, if you add our Mendoza shirt, whether it's the black, whether it's the white one, add it to your cart, okay? Then the next thing that I want you to do is add either our hoodie from Kubiak, or you can add a t-shirt. If you add the hoodie or the t-shirt and you combined Kubiak with our Mendoza shirt, I'm going to give you $15 off that order. The way that I believe it ends up doing it is when I did it earlier, I put a sweatshirt in the cart and then I put a t-shirt in the cart for the Mendoza, and it just took $15 off the Mendoza one, so $15 off your order. The reason why I'm doing this special is because the Raiders offseason program begins today, and we're Kubiak. Also, top 30 visit for Fernando Mendoza today, and he's in the building. So if you want to get both of those, chatsports.com/RRshop to save $15 off your order. I was under the impression this deal was only going to be valid today while I'm live. Who knows, though? I mean, maybe they'll forget. Maybe you guys can still take advantage of the deal tomorrow. We'll see. All right, let's go into some Raiders trade candidates, and I kind of want to hit these a little bit quicker. First name I'm going to bring up is Aidan O'Connell. And I do want to be clear. Just because I'm talking about somebody doesn't mean that I would trade them away. This is literally just like my personal opinion. And because the Raiders are going to draft Fernando Mendoza, because the Raiders just signed Kirk Cousins, because AOC is in the final year of his deal, I wouldn't be shocked if Aidan wanted to be traded away. I also wouldn't be shocked if the Raiders were like, you know what? Maybe we just go out and sign somebody, and is there a team out there willing to give up a 6th-round pick for a quarterback that started 20 games? Like, could the Raiders potentially do something like that? I will say I'd rather hang on to AOC. I think that he's a really good backup quarterback, and I think with this quarterback room between Mendoza, Aidan O'Connell, and Kirk Cousins, you're going to be able to get the best out of all of those guys. And if at the end of the day you're signing Kirk, then we should also be able to hang on to Aidan, because I do think AOC and Cousins will truly help you get the best version of Fernando Mendoza. And at the end of the day, that's why you decided to sign Kirk Cousins. Let's go to another name here that I think could potentially be a player on the trade block. It's going to be Tyree Wilson. And Tyree's in the final year of his contract. And technically, it hasn't happened yet, technically, but the Raiders have until May 1st to decline his 5th-year option. The Raiders are going to decline his 5th-year option. There's no way that you pick it up. Doesn't make sense for the Raiders at all. Now, for Tyree, I do think that a 3-4 defense is actually really going to help him because he's meant to play in a 3 technique. Like, that's what he's best at. He is a 3 technique at defensive tackle, but you can also obviously line him up as a defensive end, and I'm not saying that you can't line him up as an outside linebacker, but stand him up, put him out there on the outside. I think with that type of versatility, you're going to be able to do a lot of truly different things from top to bottom. And because this is Tyree Wilson's contract prove-it year, maybe you get a little bit more of an extra motivated version of that. And, you got Rob Leonard, you got Travis Smith now part of your defensive line. I'm hoping that this is the year that Tyree Wilson gets it done. But I'll also say, there's been a lot of conversations around defensive tackles, a lot of conversations around Max Crosby, and Max isn't going to go anywhere. He's not going to get traded. So I do wonder if, because of all those conversations, because of all the trades we've seen at the defensive line spot, does somebody look at Tyree Wilson and go, that's a former number 7 overall pick? Somebody that I believe Dan Orlovsky had ranked as his number 1 edge over Will Anderson and a whole bunch of other players out there. But this was somebody that people looked at and said, that's going to be somebody that's elite in the NFL. Do you look at it as that's a Tyree Wilson issue, or do you look at it as that's a Las Vegas Raiders issue? There's going to be teams out there that look at it as a Las Vegas Raiders issue. Could you get a 5th-round pick for Tyree? I don't know. I'd entertain the idea. And then the final name I'm going to throw out there, Dante Thornton Jr. And, I've kind of been saying this for a few weeks, for a few months, that I had a source reach out to me, again, a little bit while ago, And they flat out told me that Dante is not a lock to make this Raiders roster in 2026. And, I heard that, and I'm like, all right, yeah, we've kind of talked about it on this show from time to time. And then the Raiders go out, and you sign Jalen Nailor, 3 years, $35 million, but you did it early in that offseason free agency period. But then think about all the top 30 visits that the Raiders have had at that wide receiver position. Think about how many true X's that the Raiders have brought in. And this organization has no ties to Dante at all. And I've met Thornton. I've met his agent. He's an outstanding young man. I will always, always, always wish him nothing but the best. But if there are organizations out there and if there's a coaching staff that's concerned that Dante's not even close to being ready, then, you could see him very much so get moved on from him. I mean, look at these top 30 visits on the offensive side of the ball. They got Mendoza, Kalen Black running back, and then it's a bunch of wide receivers and a bunch of big guys that are going to probably take away Dante Thornton Jr.'s role. And I know that he's an athletic freak, and I bet you there are some people that look at the 6'4", the 205 pounds, the fact that he runs a 4.35 40-yard dash, and, there's a part of me where I want to go, I hope that he can get it together, because a guy like Dante Thornton Jr. needs a good coaching staff. He didn't have one last season. I think he's going to get one this year, and he can be that deep field threat. But at the same time, if a team, I think, offered the Raiders a 7th-round pick right now for Thornton, I think the Raiders would take it. So, will it happen? I don't know. But those are some Raiders trade candidates that I got for you. Friendly reminder out there, if any Raiders trade happens, I will be live on this show. We'll be talking about it. We'll be breaking it all down for you guys. If Raiders, again, any type of big-time move, I love talking trades. I think it's one of the most fun things to be able to do on this program. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure those notifications are turned on. And if you got anybody asking you, Mitch, anybody, could the Raiders trade for Dexter Lawrence? It's not that I don't think that he's a good fit. He's a good fit on any NFL team. It's just we don't have the right draft compensation or the correct timeline to go out and make the trade a possibility. So if you guys want to get here up on the program, make sure that you use hashtag Raiders or Super Chat to get up here. And again, it's not that – does anybody disagree, I guess, with my take on Dexter Lawrence? Of course I would want a great football player on my team. Of course I would want that. You guys know I value the trenches. You know that I've been looking for a defensive tackle. I would love the idea of going out and getting Dexter Lawrence. But again, I don't think that we have the draft compensation to be able to do it. I just don't. So – If Dexter Lawrence ended up getting traded to the Raiders, I would be blown away of what that deal looks like, because I don't think it's just picks. I don't think it's just picks. I honestly would say it'd be like, if you told me the Raiders traded for Dexter Lawrence and it was like an honest to God thing, I'd say we're giving up pick 36, probably giving up pick 102, probably throwing in a guy like Tyree Wilson. But again, do they even want a guy like Tyree Wilson? I have no idea. Do they need a tight end? Michael Mayer? Maybe they throw in Michael Mayer over there in New York? I don't think it makes sense, though. If you guys don't know, today's deal is this. James K. says, give Thornton at least until camp and preseason to prove himself first. Oh, I completely agree with you. I mean, I don't know if there's too many players out there outside of the offensive linemen that deserve a shot to be able to show you what they got this year, because unfortunately, I think all the rookies, you have to look at what they did last season. You kind of have to crumble it up and throw it out the window, because as a rookie, coaching is just so important. We didn't have the proper coaching last season. And some players did, not all players though. And again, from what I understand, the wide receiver room was actually one of the more solid rooms in terms of coaches, players, all that. But he also didn't have a great quarterback to be able to lead you, and he needed the quarterback to be able to help him out. But I'm not going to get into Geno Smith conversations. Not on April 7th, 2026. I'll tell you that. Not today. Not today. So the deals that we got going on here on the Raiders Report, I do have one more segment that I got to be able to get into. But if you don't know, I am going to be doing a Raiders Report mock draft with a bunch of the people that watch this show. Arbra, I already got you locked in. Round 4, pick 102. We are going to be doing a raffle today for round 5, pick 175. And if you want a chance to get in, if you send in a $5 super chat, you get one raffle ticket. If you send in a $20 super chat, you got a chance to get either, I believe it's 5, 10, 15, or 20 raffle tickets. If you want a chance to win some money, $20 Venmo, Mitchell Renz 365. Right now it's up to $110 goes home to the winner. If you bang, I'm going to give you 50 tickets on this program, and you got a shot to be the MVP. If you're the MVP today, I will get you in our Raiders Report mock draft. Though I do see Rustin Long getting it in, and then I also see Simon TG getting it in here for the duck race. Adrian, thank you, man. Again, I appreciate the fact that you said that you love this show. I'm sorry about what you're dealing with. I hope at the end of the day, like, I wouldn't want anybody to go through anything like that, but thank you for saying that we're the best Raiders channel. It does mean a lot to me. To the 550 people here, if you haven't already hit that like button, please, please, please make sure that you do so. It does really, really help us out a lot here. I know that not everybody can super chat, but everybody can comment. Everybody can hit that like button, and it just helps us continuously grow this show, which is, I don't know if you know this, my goal every time I turn this thing on. So we got one more segment to be able to get into today, and it's around some Raiders on the hot seat. So before I get into this segment, can you guys guess a player that I'm going to be talking about on this show? Like, when you think about who's a Raider on the hot seat, and if you don't know the qualification of a Raider on the hot seat, it's think of somebody that maybe was a starter last season. Think of maybe a player that, they played in a certain role, and because of a certain signing, because of what you think the Raiders are going to do in the draft, that puts them on the hot seat. That puts them as maybe a trade candidate. Maybe they're a cut candidate. Maybe they're just somebody that was a starter last season, and now they're no longer going to be a starter going into the year. So who is that to you in your mind? I'm seeing already a lot of Dante Thornton Jr. I do. I see a bunch of bunches. RCJ Cool, this beer's for you. Let's do it. Cheers to you. Devin Smith says Isaiah Paul Mao. That's an interesting one. Shedrick Jackson's got 4.25 speed. He's got really good – I'll tell you this. I think Shedrick Jackson has a better chance of making this Raiders roster than Dante Thornton Jr. right now on April 7th. Obviously, that could change, but I feel like I've been saying that for a while. Brian Geno Smith. I mean, is he on the hot seat, though? I mean, he's going to take him to the promised land based on what I've heard. Crazy. Malcolm Kuntz from Landon. Interesting there. I like it. It's kind of an interesting one. Though I don't know if I 100% agree with it, but I mean, he got a 1-year deal. Everybody else got 3 years. That could be something to consider. That also could be a Malcolm Kuntz decision where he was like, all right, I want to be able to prove that this is the year that I can do it. All right, so I see some names down there. I see DJ Glaze from Zoo. I like the DJ Glaze one as well. I will be talking about an offensive lineman on today's program. I just saw somebody got an F the Raven shirt. Shout out to Richard W. Shout out to you. Also, I see Justin B. What up? Barham M. Thank you. And then Charles E. Appreciate you guys for getting some Raiders Report gear. So, here's what we're going to do. We're going to get into our top 5 Raiders on the hot seat on both the offensive side of the football and the defensive side of the ball. After that, I'm going to do a raffle to see who's going to be a part of our Raiders Report mock draft. And then also, we got a duck race to do. And the duck race is going to be for some money. And if you want to get in, scan that QR code right up now on screen, or you can add me as a friend. Carlos Comedy, I got you in, my guy. I got you in. I got you. Alrighty. You're good, bro. You're good. So, I see, honestly, I almost wonder if we should, ask them about the issues we've been having. We'll figure it out. Oh, shit. I didn't even see that. What's up? Weldinator. Oh, dude, that's wild. Wild. Oh, Weldinator. Bro, I've been seeing the videos you've been putting out, man. You've been wilding. Jorge S. Galara, I gotcha. And then Brian Hinkle. Brian Hinkle, a.k.a. Geno Smith. Is that you, Geno? Are you Brian Hinkle? Is that it? Is that what you think? I see Big Raz going with JPJ. That's a hot take there, Raz. Speaking of hot, I think it needs to be hot when you weld. The Weldinator! Bang! Raiders! What up, Mitch? Vegas was insane. Dude, there was the one clip I saw of you. You were literally like the only person on TV. Like, you were at the Oakland A's game. You were right behind home plate, and the video that I saw was it was like you were the only person on the camera. I don't know how many people were at that game, but I felt like Weldinair was the only one. I guess the roulette ball hated me because there was red for like 12 spins. Also, it's going to be a crazy next couple of months for me, and it will only get crazier, especially sports-wise. Eye emoji. Ooh. I mean, I'm always curious what you got going on. I follow you on IG. You, man, you get around. Giggity. You're always going to Warriors games, always going to Sharks. I always see you at the, obviously the A's games, Raiders games as well. But I saw you were singing the other day on your Instagram as well, though I forget what song you were singing. But I remember in San Jose, you were like, are we going to do karaoke today? Because they had like a karaoke stand-up there. And I mean, I'll say this, I can't sing. I've heard Chug sing. Chug's low-key can sing, like, I think, very well for a random guy. I think Weldinator's probably kind of like the same thing where, like, if you know you can sing, get up there, test the pipes a little bit. I mean, I know that I can't sing. Like, truthfully, if you told me right now I had to go up in front of a bunch of people and sing a song without hesitation, I'd probably say Closing Time, only because like of how many times like we would sing it here, like closing time, turn on all the like I would do that because like that song like means something to me. But the song that I probably know the best is Ordinary, but that's only because it was like Alex and I's like one song that we were gonna dance to at our wedding. So truthfully, like I listened to it like for every single day for God, I don't even know how many straight days. So like I know that song really well. But when we were out in Vegas, there was a few people there with us. Chugs was like did like karaoke one night. Now we had a lot of drinks that night. But he was actually like very good. Like he was like he did it, and he's like almost too good for like your friend group. Well, I mean, like, I don't know. If I'm going to do karaoke, like, with a bunch of my friends, like, everybody has to be bad. Like, it can't, like, Chugs went up there, he crushed the song, and he was like, all right, who else is going to go? I'm like, you can't go first. Yeah, I'm like, what are we doing here? That's like an NFL athlete running a 40 time, and it's like, all right, bro, you're up. Like, I ain't running after you. I'll run before you. I ain't running after you. Karaoke song is Hotel California from Zalesbo. Let me know down below. What's your karaoke song? I want to know. The Weldinator, one of the best in the biz. But no, dude, keep doing what you're doing. Keep staying busy. I'll say this. My number one tip for you, keep on making the content that makes you happy. Like, make content that makes you happy because no matter what, you're going to be able to do what you want to do. I think the other thing that you should do, Weldinator, is maybe write down what you're going to say before you say it. Because, like, you kind of remind me of me when I first started like, I had all these thoughts in my mind, and I didn't know how to put, like, pen to paper. And when you have a lot of thoughts in your mind, you kind of get a little, like, scatterbrain. And I still get scatterbrain, right? Like, when breaking news happens, like when Kirk Cousins signed the other day, Lopez and I are trying to figure out what the hell's going on, and it's on the fly. So you kind of, like, you can see it happening in action. But I think if you, like, wrote down what you were going to talk about and planned it out, real talk, I think it would help you personally and any young professional out there that's trying to do, something that I do that anybody here from Chat Sports does. But what? Oh, Chuck's poking his head in. Weldinator with a bang. Oh, wow. Oh, all right. So, oh, wow. There's a lot going on back there. Trace and Jeremy, imagine the backwards boxers image. That's basically what I just got from Jeremy. Let's go to Jersey Boy Garacer. Rank these receivers as possible third-round selections. Ooh, Zachariah Branch, Antonio Williams, Jacoby Lane, and Elijah Surratt. Okay, so for the Raiders, I would go Zachariah Branch 1, Elijah Surratt 2, Jacoby Lane 3, Antonio Williams 4. Now, if you were to ask a lot of other people outside of the NFL how they would rank those, there might be some people that rank Antonio Williams first. And the reason why I'm willing to put Zachariah Branch above him is because I do think that he fits with like a Klint Kubiak style of offense in terms of like the yards after the catch, quick, shifty receiver. I think he's a lot better than what he gets credit for. But I think Antonio Williams, like we already have a lot of slot guys. You know, Jacoby Lane at least is a little bit bigger. Elijah Surratt at least a little bit bigger. But that's probably how I would do it. I think any three of those guys, like to me, I'd rather Jacoby Lane in round 4 in a perfect world. I wouldn't love the pick at 67, but I would understand why they did it. Just to me, I'd rather get him in round 4. Jersey Boy, shout out to you, man. All right, guys, we are all caught up. Also, I just saw enter the building Raider Ron. What up, Ron? It's good to see you, my man, the Godfather, the man, the myth, the legend, the greatest of all time to do it, Ron Stanley. Raider Ron in the building. What up, Ron? Sean Morgan, you in? I also see Ruben Ortiz. What's going on, Ruben Ortiz? We got a $20 Venmo for a shot to win as it stands right now, $180 here on the Raiders Report. So, I say we get into these hot seat candidates here on today's program, and then after that, we got a raffle, and then after that, we also got to be able to get in to do our duck race. If you haven't already, put an RR down below. Anytime Raider Ron shows up here, hope that you guys show him nothing but love. He is, I think he's the O-est of the G's, you know, like he's the realest of the real. Though, Ron, you need to talk to Troy. His name is Troy the Entertainer here on YouTube. His Instagram, Ron, is, I'm looking right now. His IG, hang on here, is Troy Douglas. And if you're here in the chat, his Instagram, Ron, is Troy Douglas .ENT. He wants to throw a Raiders party, and I know like you were telling me like you want me to go out to California this summer and throw a Raiders Report party. So, Ron, if you and Troy could talk, again, I don't know how close you are to him in reference, but Ron, if you want us to throw a party where Troy's got this like gigantic Dave and Buster's space, I would love to be able to do it. But Troy, to you, if that's too far of a drive for Ron, like it's not gonna happen. At the end of the day, Ron, if you want us to throw a party there, we'll throw a party there this summer. I wanted you to be able to link up with Troy. So Troy, if you're here, the guy that's Raider Ron space E3D, that's Raider Ron. So all right, let's get into some of the. Let me just, Ron, I'm just gonna actually send you the profile. Sorry, y'all. Hang on a second. When it comes to Ron, I'm just going to put it in our Mount Raidermore group chat, just so you know. So if anybody in Mount Raidermore group chat sees it, that's Troy Douglas, so I got you. Just talk to him, Ron. I think, honestly, we'd throw a really effing sick Raiders party there, but it needs to make sense for you for it to happen. All right, here we go. You guys ready? For the 8th time. Coming up! Raiders hot seat candidates right here on the Raiders Report. Raider Nation, it's Mitchell Renz here, host of the Raiders Report, and coming up on today's show, some Raiders players are in trouble. And I'm not saying that they're in trouble in terms of off the field. I'm saying that they're hot seat candidates. What exactly is a hot seat candidate? Why are these players in trouble? I want you to think about it from a multitude of different reasons. Think about it as there's a certain player on the roster, maybe because of a free agency signing, maybe because of a certain draft pick that we know is going to happen or that we can think is going to happen due to top 30 visits. That player might be losing his starting spot. Maybe that player is cut or traded or just ultimately losing their spot on this roster. So what I have done for you guys today is I have ranked the top 5 Raiders on the hot seat candidates. Raiders in trouble on the offensive side of the football and on the defensive side of the football. We are first going to kick this off, though, with the offense. Coming in here at number 5, I'm going to go with Dylan Laube. Laube is a player that I know a lot of fans really like, and I respect Laube's mentality. I respect his work ethic, because from everybody that I hear, he's got outstanding work ethic. But I'll just say this. I don't know if Laube is a lock to make this team, and, maybe depending on what the Raiders do in the draft, could decide that. But here's what I do know. The Raiders are showing interest in free agent running backs with Najee Harris. Klint Kubiak has already come out and said that he wants to be able to add a wingman to Ashton Genty. The Raiders are showing interest in running back Kalen Black in the draft. And if they're showing interest in Kalen, I think you could also see the Raiders potentially look to add a running back on day 3. But if Las Vegas adds 2 more running backs this offseason, which I see happening, I see us adding a back in the draft, and I see us adding a back in free agency of some shape or form, then that puts Laube as a little bit of a roster bottom. And if you can save $1 million by moving on from him, it could be something that happens, though. Maybe you just hang on to him because he offers you at least just some sort of running back depth and could also help out on special teams. But I don't really want Dylan Laube on the field at all this upcoming season. Let's go to number 4 here, and I think that this one might surprise some people, but I'm going to put Caleb Rogers on this show. And I know Rogers got a few opportunities last season to start some games, and I like Rogers, but I also had him rated as my lowest overall Raiders draft grade from last season. So why do I think that he is, on the hot seat? The Raiders, first off, they signed Spencer Burford, and they signed him to a much larger contract than I realized. He's going to make up to about $3.4 million this season, and he's got a Klint Kubiak tie, being a part of the 49ers in 2023, where he played 820 snaps. The Raiders made it official today of them re-signing Jordan Meredith. We already knew that was going to happen, but he was a 3rd-round pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, going to be 25 years old in October, so he's not necessarily all that young. And because the Raiders signed Tyler Linderbaum, that puts JPJ at offensive guard. So Rodgers is kind of sitting there as a 3rd-round former pick going, where exactly do I fit into this equation? I don't see Caleb Rogers starting this upcoming season, and because of the Raiders' moves that they made, I think Rodgers is unfortunately a loser and on the hot seat. Let's go to number 3 here for my Raiders hot seat candidates on the offensive side of the football. I'm going to put Jack Besh here. And do I think Jack Besh is going to get cut? No, not at all. But I look at the Raiders roster right now, and I look at these wide receivers, and I go, think about priority. Think about what the Raiders did that very first day of free agency. I think that they showed you that we have a lot of team needs, and they went out there and they addressed those team needs. One of the very first things they did, they signed wide receiver Jalen Nailor, right? The Jalen Nailor signing happened before Quay Walker, Malcolm Kuntz, Nakobe Dean. It happened right after Tyler Linderbaum. So you signed him to a 3-year, $35 million deal. That puts Jalen Nailor above Jack Besh, who was drafted in the 2nd round just last season. Klint Kubiak at the NFL owners' meetings showed love to Trey Tucker, saying that he was a player that had surprised him. That tells me that I believe Trey Tucker is going to be above Jack Besh. Because the Raiders have been doing tons, and I mean tons of homework at that wide receiver position, would it shock anybody out there if they drafted a receiver this year that also got put above Jack Besh? I personally would not be shocked by that. Quite frankly, I expect by week 1 of the NFL season, Jack Besh to be a wide receiver 4 on this team, which that's really good depth overall. But for a guy that was drafted in the 2nd round, I think that puts him a little bit on the hot seat. Again, not as a trade candidate, not as a cut candidate, but for being a player that probably thought as a 2nd-round pick was going to be a little bit higher up, especially after moving on from Jacoby last year, to now being probably a wide receiver 4. I mean, look at all of these top 30 visits from the offensive side of the football, and look at how many of them are wide receivers. I mean, 80% of our top 30 visits on offense so far have been the wide receiver position. So, yeah, you're damn right. Any receiver on that team, on the Raiders right now, is probably a little bit worried about their job security. Let's go to number 2 here, and it's going to be Aiden O'Connell. The reason why it's got to be Aiden O'Connell is because you're going to draft Fernando Mendoza, number 1 overall, and then you went out and you signed Kirk Cousins. That tells me, I think every year that AOC has been a part of this team, he's had at least a shot. Maybe it hasn't been a great shot, but he's had a shot. There's no way in hell Aiden O'Connell is going to be a chance to start for the Raiders in week 1 this upcoming season. The only way that it happens is if Mendoza gets hurt, if Cousins gets hurt, if we're in a really bad situation. But to me, I look at AOC as the final year of his contract. I wouldn't be shocked if he wanted out next season. But because of the Raiders' moves that they've done, and because of the moves that the Raiders are going to do, I think you have to say Aiden O'Connell is unfortunately on the hot seat entering this upcoming season. But you let me know down below. This is going to be the pinned comment here on today's show. Which Raiders player is on the hottest seat entering 2026? You're about to get hit with a YouTube ad break. While that ad is playing, I want you to scroll on down and give me your answer. My answer is going to be coming up here in just a moment. I would say the player that is in the most trouble entering the 2026 season and the player that is on the hottest seat, wide receiver Dante Thornton Jr. Had a source reach out to me a few weeks ago, maybe even a few months ago at this point, saying that Dante's not a lock to make this roster. Then Raiders go out, they sign Jalen Naylor, and then you look at all the top 30 visits at this receiver position that I've shown you. The Raiders are clearly doing their homework at the wide receiver spot. I've also heard, Shedrick Jackson is a guy that is not going to get overlooked because of how hard he is in terms of a worker. And Kubiak, from what I understand, is a fan of Shedrick Jackson, again, based on his ability to block, based on him being able to do some of the dirty work. But for Dante Thornton Jr., he's a receiver that's buried on our roster, doesn't help you out on special teams, can't really help you out in terms of a route tree, not good enough right now to stretch the field because he gets pressed too easily. It's what does he exactly offer you? And if he can't stretch the field yet, that's going to be a problem. But I will say you got to give him a shot in May, June, and July because he was a project player. And when you draft a player like Dante Thornton Jr., it's so unbelievably important to have a good offensive-minded coach, to have a good play caller, to be able to have a good quarterback. And he didn't have any of those things last season. So if we give him those things this year and then he's still struggling, I think if Dante Thornton struggles and when it comes around cut time, I'll just keep saying it. If Dante Thornton Jr. doesn't make this roster, it shouldn't surprise a lot of people if you watch this show. Coming up next here, though, we're going to get into some hot seat candidates on defense. And I just want to say this. I'm not doing this show to rip on any players. I do this show for Raider Nation. I do this show for all the fans out there that do have an understanding of it's not always cupcakes, butterflies, and rainbows. There are some times where hard conversations are needed to be had after free agency, leading up into the draft. We've been bad for so long, we all want to get better. It's just the way that it's got to go. But I do want to be clear here to Dante, to Dante's agent, to any player out there. Like, I will always, always wish nothing but the best, but I hope that you understand I got a job to do, and I got to be able to give my opinion. Coming up next here, though, some of the hot seat candidates on the defensive side of the football. Before I get into that, if you're watching this show live, this might be your last opportunity to take advantage of the deal. If you add the Mendoza shirt and if you add a Weir Kubiak shirt to your cart, you're going to be able to save $15 on that order. I will say this, it's only valid, from my understanding, if you add the Kubiak and if you add the Mendoza shirt. If you try to add other shirts, I don't think that the code ends up working. It's just going to be automatically going to be applied to your shopping cart. This deal was going to be valid only for live today, April 7th, because Mendoza is there in Las Vegas, and the Raiders offseason program does begin today. But who knows? Maybe this deal goes a lot longer. I don't know when they're going to end it. When I say they, I mean my bosses, our team here at Chat Sports. But from my understanding, this deal is valid right now at the time I'm making this video, and it might be valid a little bit longer. That link down in the comments, down in the description. Let's go to some of these hot seat candidates on the defensive side of the football. Coming in here at number 5, it's going to be Isaiah Pola-Mao. Pola-Mao played 952 snaps in 2024. He played 1,081 snaps in 2025. I like Isaiah as a player, okay? But he's got to play strong safety. He's got to play in the box. You got to let him roam around a little bit. That's, to me, where he's at his absolute best. Like, that's the role that he's got to play. So if you're the Raiders, you got to look for that safety. And Klint Kubiak made it very, very clear at the owners' meetings that they want to upgrade the safety position. So if you upgrade the safety position, if you go out and get a free safety, that's going to bump down, in my opinion, Isaiah Pola-Mao. Now, maybe he goes from having, 1,900 snaps to maybe he's somewhere around 500 to 600 snaps, which I actually think is a much better role for Isaiah Pola-Mao to play in. For that reason, hot seat candidate, potentially going to lose his starter, going to bump him down a little bit. Let's go to number 4 here. It's going to be actually place kicker Matt Gay. This is another dude that he's the only kicker on our roster right now. I know that the Raiders brought him in instead of Daniel Carlson, which does mean something. He's making $2.1 million this upcoming season, but the Raiders have been scouting several, and I mean several college kickers. What's also interesting about, bringing in a kicker is whether the Raiders draft him. Like, if the Raiders draft a kicker, I think Matt Gay's in a lot of trouble. If the Raiders sign a UDFA kicker, which I do think honestly ends up happening, he's going to be competition for Gay. And for the Raiders, you got Joe DeCamillis. That's the reason why the Raiders went out and got him. But Matt has struggled here over the past few seasons. The Raiders have been doing their homework on kickers for a reason. That puts Matt Gay on the hot seat. Let's go to number 3 here. It's going to be a linebacker, Cody Lindenberg, and he was drafted in the 7th round just last season. Second different regime that he's going to be dealing with. But Las Vegas, they went out, they signed the Kobe Dean. They went out, they signed Quay Walker. You go out and you also got Shea Gualobi. I think the only way that Cody Lindenberg gets on the field is special teams, and that's probably just the way that it is. But the fact that the Raiders went out and got Shea Gualobi, they also signed Derek Young. I know he's a receiver who's probably actually going to take away some deep field ability maybe for Dante Thornton because Derek Young's literally a track athlete, 4.4, 40-yard dash speed. Not many guys can do that with somebody like Dante. But for Cody Lindenberg, if you cut him, you save $934K. It's not a lot of money. Again, we're penny pension here. But for a 7th-round pick of a previous regime, and the Raiders made all the moves that they did at that linebacker position, it wouldn't shock me at all if Lindenberg didn't make this roster. Let's go to number 2 here. It's going to be DeCamerion Richardson at the cornerback position. And this has been another player, much like Dante Thornton, I've talked about. And if you look at what an athlete looks like, DeCamerion Richardson and Dante Thornton Jr. are both outstanding athletes from top to bottom. But I also think that in the NFL, timing is everything. And the fact that the first 2 things that really the Raiders did in free agency were they re-signed Eric Stokes, 3 years, $30 million. You also traded for Taron Johnson the night before free agency started. So, that told me they saw this cornerback room as going man, we really need to be able to replace some pieces. And they did. Replace Darnay Holmes. You also brought back Eric Stokes. But I don't know what they feel about Darian Porter. But I also know that this is a team that wants guys that love football, that knows guys that are committed to playing football. And I've heard from a past organization, a past regime, that DeCamerion Richardson had some, we'll call them maturity issues. And I don't think that the Raiders want to have to deal with any of those maturity issues. So for DeCamerion Richardson, I think the bigger risk for here and why he's on this show is not that he's losing a spot. I think he could get cut this upcoming season. But the final name here, the biggest hot seat candidate, I'm going to go with Tommy Eichenberg at this linebacker position because Eichenberg is another option where maybe the Raiders decide to keep Cody Lindenberg over Eichenberg because Lindenberg's got that extra year at that cheaper contract. For Eichenberg, like a lot of the reasons why I said about Lindenberg, you bring in all these different linebackers. You're going to go with the 3-4 defense. 5th-round pick in 2024, so you're going into now your 3rd different regime. And if you end up cutting him, you save $991K. I think what could really be interesting here for Eichenberg is, if the signings of Nakobe and if the signings of Quay Walker don't happen, does Tommy Eichenberg have a shot to, get in that room? And I wonder if Eichenberg at the beginning of free agency was like, man, Jamal Adams, Landon Roberts, Devin White, all of these guys are, going to be free agents. I might have a shot to shine. But then the Raiders made it very clear to all these linebackers that, hey, we didn't like our linebacker room last season. And they shouldn't have. It was one of the worst linebacker rooms, if not the worst linebacker room in the National Football League. But Tommy Eichenberg, I think, probably saw that he had a shot to start for just a small chance, and then it quickly got faded away. But for a dude who's looking to make his stance in the NFL, I don't know where it's going to be on special teams. I don't think it's going to be on defense. He's going to be lucky to get 100 snaps this upcoming season on the defensive side of the football. So those were all of my Raiders hot seat candidates going in to the season. Rebel said Guy barely plays, and you're right. When you're barely playing and you're getting buried on a depth chart, I think that kind of just shows you where you're going to be heading into the season. Jorge said bring back Robert Spillane. To me, I know when people watch this show, there's going to be certain names that pop up. But the signing of Quay Walker and Nakobe Dean, I think both of those guys are, again, why Eichenberg and Lindenberg are going to be losers here or on that hot seat. Appreciate all y'all tuning in. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. I will be live again here on the Raiders Report on Friday for a little happy hour. And I don't know exactly what time it's going to be, but I just know it's going to be Friday happy hour, and you're not going to want to miss it. So if you guys don't know the deals that we got going on today, this is your final chance to participate and a final chance to get in our Raiders mock draft. So I'm going to be doing a mock draft in about It's about 13 days from today. The video will be released on Monday, April 20th. And it's basically just going to be, all of the picks that people that watch this show end up doing. So right off the back, I already got Arbora. He's in round 4, pick 102. And then you can see the raffle that we're doing today. It's April 7th. The raffle is going to be for pick round 5 at pick 175. So just want to be able to put that out there for you, just so we're in the clear of what we're doing these raffles for. Again, I want to make this show different every year. I have not done a mock draft like this. So I've done, past content creator mock drafts. I've done just different styles of them. I've had Chat Sports mock drafts. So I figured, I would try to do it a little bit different. Dave said we love happy hour. Dave, I love happy hour. Happy hour to me is like I can let my hair down. It's close to the weekend, and I get to hang out with my peeps. And I love hanging out with my peeps, man. So final chance for y'all to get in the duck race. Final chance for y'all to get in the raffle. I say we do the raffle first. Let's do a wheel. Wheel's probably the easiest on you. So what we're going to do is we're first going to do this raffle. Whoever it lands on, you're going to be in our Raiders Report mock draft, round 5, pick 175. To make it the easiest way possible on me, and I mean it, the easiest way possible on me would be to give me, probably honestly the way to do it, send me $1 on Venmo. I'll send you the $1 right back, and then that way I can just get like your IG. I can get all your information. Now, there's obviously a lot of people that I already know and that I already have that info, so if you're one of those people, don't worry about it. So, Lesbo, this sounds fun. So, like, imagine, Lesbo, let's say you win the raffle, right? And let's say you're sitting there round 5. Basically, the way that I would do it is I would send you a screenshot of all the picks and all the players that are still available. You would make your pick, and then I would be like, why did you make that pick? You would type out why you made that pick. I would make a graphic into it. It's I like to call my quote graphic, and it'll be a quote up there, and then I'll kind of just break down why you decided to do that pick, and I'll give you like my 2 cents on it. Like, the only pick that I'm making is round 1, pick 1, Fernando Mendoza. Now, if anybody's like really passionate and they want the number 1 overall pick, I'll give it to you. I think it's the pick that we all know is going to happen. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I'm not gonna let you pick somebody else besides Mendoza. So it's like if we're like, oh, we're gonna do this, and it's freaking, I don't know, Bayou Raider. He's like, with the first pick, I want to go with Ty Simpson. I'm just not gonna do it. Like we're not doing. Mendoza has to be the pick. Like it has to be the pick. I don't know. It doesn't even make sense to do it if he's not believe me. I thought about earlier on when the Raiders first got the number 1 overall pick, I really, truly thought about, doing a mock draft just to like show fans, oh, like this is what it could look like if we traded the number 1 overall pick. I can't get myself to do it because I'm just like, I feel like it's a waste of time. Big Raz, trade with the Jets. Nope. Nope, nope. Nope, nope, nope. Nope, nope. Nope, nope. And nope. No, thank you. All right, let's go to the wheel. So if you've banged today, you got 50. We gave a few away for 20, and then you're going to see some names in there that have 1 raffle ticket. So good luck to all y'all out there, whoever this lands on. Round 5, pick 175. It's yours in our Raiders mock draft. 3, 2, 1, and here we go. Big money, big money, big money. Who's it going to land on? I can't see. LCA, it belongs to you. Now, reminder, some of y'all are crazy mother effers out there. So, Lord Cameron Abbott, if, for example, if you were to be an MVP on a future show and you're like, I want to get a better pick, we can discuss about trading those picks. So, right now, LCA, round 5, pick 175. So, LCA, let's say you were the MVP this Friday. If you wanted to take that round 5 pick and you can be the round 236, I'll let you just do that one, and then I would let you pick who you want for round 5, 175. That's how I would do it. That's how I would do it. Final chance for the duck race as well. I do see one more super chat that we got to be able to get to here in terms of the duck race. The last name that I got in was, I'm looking, Ruben Ortiz. Since then, wow, yeah, we got a lot more people getting it in. David Ward, I got you. Greg Vac, got you. Simona Montez, you in. We got Greg Silva, you in. Jose Lorenzo, you in. I see Gary Backus, you're in. Nathan Wolf, you're in. Bronson Ketchum, you in. And then Philip Bogert, you are in. 20 to win, $270 here on the show. Marsh said trade these nuts. You know, unfortunately for some people, they are allergic to nuts. I am not one of those people. I also love peanuts. So sign it up, Marsh. Let's run it. Also, this Friday, we will be giving away $1,600, just so all y'all know. It will be our final March Madness game. Congratulations to the Michigan Wolverines. I think that they were clearly the best team in college basketball. I mean, honestly, maybe from start to finish. The fact that, they had 5 guys come in from all these different schools, I think they showed that, what the transfer portal can potentially do. But they played an outstanding game. Honestly, I actually thought last night's game was kind of a bad game. Yeah, I agree with that. Not a great shooting performance. I mean, there were times where I was like, the ball's just not going to go in. Not going to go in. But then it got to 67 to 63, and I was like, all right, this could be kind of interesting. But, credit to Michigan. They made a lot of their free throws, and I think they made 20 straight. So credit to the Michigan Wolverines. My boss is a Michigan fan, so I was happy for him. But I don't know if anybody else feels like this. I root for Indiana more now because of Fernando Mendoza. I have found myself rooting for Michigan more because of John Spytek and Tom Brady, and I'm just like, yeah, they're normal people. They probably woke up today yeah, man, Michigan. You know what I'm saying? You're and at the end of the day, man, I want the guys that are making decisions for the Raiders to have a little pep in their step. Because I know this, if Centenary College wins the championship, I'm going nuts. No. I promise you this, if Centenary College ever wins a national championship, I will be live here on this channel. Here's the thing. It's never going to happen. It's D3. They used to. No, they won't. We're not that bad at everything. It's just we're just nowhere near D3. The only thing that I think that they ever had a shot of to win a title, they used to be a really good wrestling program. Really, really good wrestling program. And then the thing, though, that my school's known for is equestrian. Like equestrian horses, national title. They have won national titles for equestrian. It's truly the barn. Yes. The barn is nicer than my college. It's without a doubt. It's why people go there. It's why people go there. All right, final refresh for a shot for some of y'all mother effers to win some money on the show. Final chance for you to get in. If you haven't gotten in yet, it's just a you thing. LCA, I got you in. Could you please add LCA Lord Cameron Abbott? And again, huge shout out to the birthday boy today, Arbora, today's MVP, getting in on the action. Shout out to you, my guy. Arbora earlier today said, hey, man, 34th birthday. All out. One for my birthday is joining the race. I'm on a hot streak from LCA. All right, LCA. We'll see. We'll see. You ready? You guys ready? 3, 2, 1. Let's get it going. The winner of this race is going to be going home with $280 here on the Raiders Report. Yep, we got it. Right now, Carlos Comedy is in the lead, though. I don't think that that's funny. Greg Silva also out to the lead. Joseph Gomez, that looks like it itches. Jeremy Valve, nice little crown on your head there. I mean, Montez just a hard-working guy, just a lunch pail type of dude. Though, Sean Morgan, I don't know what type of outfit you got going on. The little alien down there, that's Philip Bogert. Greg Vac, the snorkel's not doing anything. LCA, it's April right now. I don't know what you're doing. Greg Roth right now is just streaking. I mean, he's the most aerodynamic. You can tell he just shaved this morning. Uh-oh, who's this? Uh-oh, that's LA Crash. That's LA Crash! LA Crash Dog! Doctor, give me some news. I got a LA Crash Dog. Not really the way that it should have went. I said, doctor, give me the news. I got a bad case. If only I could spell your name. All right, Gunny. Congratulations to you, my good sir. $280. Gunny, please confirm that you just received $280. Please receive the $280. Gotcha. Congratulations to L.A. Crash Dog. And again, dude, happy birthday to Arbora. To all y'all out there, sorry that we had some issues to start this stream. I know YouTube was having a bunch of issues on their end. Thankfully that they were able to figure it out and, get everything together, get everything to work out. But I do love doing this show. I don't want people to think that I only do this show if it's monetized, and it's probably getting into a conversation that I don't need to have. But I do this show because I love doing this show. But I also want people to know that, like if you called your boss today and they were like, hey, you're not going to get paid for work, I don't think that you would go into work. It's not that I didn't want to go live because no monetization. It's I could have done a lot of other things here to help put myself in a better situation, my company in a better situation, and then we would have just went live the next day. So, I had a few people reach out to me, said that they didn't like what I was saying, but I'm always going to be an open book. I got nothing to hide here, and I hope that you guys know that. I'm always going to be a very transparent individual because I want you guys to be very transparent with me. LA Crash said he just got it. So to everybody out there, shout out to all y'all that always tune into the show and make it possible. I do hold this show to a very high standard. So in my mind, if I don't feel like I'm going to be able to do it to that standard, I'd rather figure out a way to reschedule and do it to that standard. So that's what happened a little bit earlier today, and I just want y'all to know that. If you're looking for free Raiders videos and weekly live shows, hit that subscribe button. We are 37 subs away from 223,000. The next time that you're going to see me live on the show, Friday Happy Hour. Buckle it up. I love Friday Happy Hour. I love being able to hang out with the nation, and I hope that you guys are ready to rock and roll on Friday. If I have to go live on Wednesday or Thursday, it's because breaking news happens. So to make sure that you don't miss that breaking news, hit that subscribe button. Enjoy your Tuesday, and as Rebel always says, let's go eat.